buckle up, boys. Time to go to work.
Probably at your house. I'm just going to make some assumptions.
The Bengals will select and keep Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert by the Chargers. Tua Tagovailoa will be drafted by the Dolphins.
Not bad, Dan Patrick. No Tom in Ohio, of course, but solid and improving. This just in from the Tom in Ohio newsroom.
I have got a friend of a friend who knows Jimmy Haslam well. Daniel Snyder and Jimmy Haslam, they've been talking very seriously. Odell Beckham Jr. or Chase Young, and they're within one draft pick of making that move.
Stay tuned for more Tom in Ohio bombshells.
First reported by Tom in Ohio.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Tom in Ohio newsroom. And man cave, too, but that's a throw-in. Here's Dan Patrick.
We made it to a Friday, a Meat Friday. We got wings on the Traeger coming up. We got a lot to talk about. We got controversy in Green Bay. We got to give out draft grades as well. Chris Sims doesn't like Tua Tagovailoa. He'll join us coming up. Jesse Palmer from the mothership, the former USC and NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez a little bit later on in the program. Also, Fritzy has some feelers out to some of the newsmakers, so we'll see if we latch on to anybody here over the next 3 hours. Come on in, stay a while. Glad to have you on board. I'm here in the man cave. Paulie's about 20 feet away from me. Fritzy, McLovin, Seaton at their respective homes. Do want to give a shout out to Alan, the IT guy, Marvin, who's answering phones, Rob, the intern, the big German, and also Dylan. Those are the other behind-the-scenes guys, the backroom guys. Mario is at home, and I'm sure the chat row loves that he's not around, and the French kid as well. We say hello to chat row. We got Tyler, the creator, Tyler, the moderator's in today because he's going to handle the wings on the Traeger grill. So we are armed and dangerous, ready to go, full speed ahead. You can listen if you like. We're on 362 radio affiliates around the country, the great Fox Sports Radio lineup, and you can watch if you'd like on youtube.com/The Dan Patrick Show. A somewhat predictable NFL draft got shaken up late last night. A surprising trade and a surprising pick. The Green Bay Packers moved up from 30 to 26 to take Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. History repeats itself. 15 years ago, the Packers selected Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre was just 35, although back then 35 was old. That's not the case now with quarterbacks. Rodgers sat behind Favre for 3 years. It was a frosty relationship. Rodgers is now 36. Presumably, Love will sit behind him for at least 2 years, maybe 3. Love's got a lot of talent, and I was told prior to the draft, these GMs and coaches just couldn't quite put a handle on how good he is, when is he going to be good, and where do you take him? And you had teams, the Dolphins looked at him. You had teams high in the draft who looked at him to say, can we get him? Where do we get him? And it felt like the Green Bay Packers, when you move up from 30 to 26, that's not he fell into your lap. You went up to get him. That's one thing if you go, hey, he was the best guy on the board, so we had to take him. I get it. Now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, you may look back and go, man, what a great move that they made. But if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to approach this in a couple of ways, which I'll get into in a moment. Aaron Rodgers wanted to get skilled position players. If you give me another wide receiver, but it felt like the really good wide receivers were already taken. If I'm moving up in the draft to get somebody, could I have moved up in the draft to get a wide receiver? That was the first thought that I had. When I heard that the Packers had made a trade, and I went, what wide receiver is left that they feel like has a first-round grade? And then all of a sudden they dropped the bomb, said, and the Packers select Jordan Love out of Utah State. And I went, how old is Rodgers? How old was Favre? How old was Rodgers at the time he was drafted? How old is Jordan Love? History just repeated itself. Jenny Vrentis, who writes for SI.com, at the end of her column this morning, said the following. When the Packers went on the clock just before 11:30 Eastern on Thursday night and selected Jordan Love, they were putting Aaron Rodgers on the clock, too. Knowing Aaron Rodgers, knowing that personality, he will use this as motivation here. But it's a weird thing that other things should motivate you, not necessarily your own team doing something to get you motivated. You look back on the Chicago Bulls, they got Michael Jordan even more motivated in the last year because Jerry Krause said to Phil Jackson, you can go 82-0. We're not bringing you back. Well, you're not bringing him back. I'm not going to play unless Phil's my coach. So that motivated Jordan, who was always looking for something there. Now the Green Bay Packers have basically said, Aaron, we were a win away from going to the Super Bowl. We need to motivate you a little bit more. Jordan Love is not taking his job anytime soon. If you look at the cap hit, it would be devastating to the Packers if they somehow got rid of Aaron Rodgers over the next 2 years. Because I think he's owed around $40+ million and $30+ million the next 2 years. That third year is around $17 million. I got Aaron Rodgers, we think, for 2 more years. That's the way I would view this. 2 years, let's see what we can produce here. And we have as heir apparent. This has happened before. Teams draft quarterbacks all the time. New England's done that to Tom Brady. It feels like they've drafted, 7 or 8 quarterbacks while he was there in New England. It happens. Look at what Sean Payton told me last year. They were taking Patrick Mahomes in New Orleans if he didn't go before them. Like that was happening. He said, we were going to take him. All right, that would have motivated Drew Brees, but Brees probably would not be playing in New Orleans right now. Does Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay? The number of tweets and text messages I got from, hey, we got Tom Brady's replacement in 3 years, Aaron Rodgers, get the T-shirts ready, Jolly Rodgers in Tampa Bay. And I go, okay, duly noted, I'll file that away. But I watched it unfold, and I also, go back to an interview that Pat McAfee conducted with Aaron Rodgers, along with A.J. Hawk. It's called Primetime Draft Special that they did. And here's what Aaron Rodgers had to say. This is before the Packers selected Jordan Love last night.
It depends on what position we pick. It might be a little upbeat and excited. Should be an offensive guy, but maybe it's a big, tough defensive guy as well. But either way, I'm going to welcome him to the team. But it'd be kind of cool. We haven't picked a skill player in the first round in the last 15 years, so that'd be kind of cool.
Well, you got your skill position player. He's called a quarterback. We love the draft. It's one night, but it can shape the future of NFL teams for years. I know that we love to hand out grades, or you want to hear grades, and I always say it's hard to grade somebody because Paulie and I were looking at, was that the 2015 draft that we were looking at this morning?
Yeah.
Where if you handed out grades the night of the draft, and I went through the first round, I go, boy, I like that pick, and I like that pick, and that's a good pick. I don't know about that one. Oh, that's good. I was handing out, B's and A's going through the first round. I like what the Niners did. I like what the Dolphins did. Broncos got a great wide receiver. I love what the Cowboys did with C.D. Lamb. But guys, they don't stay with their original teams. It's really, if you look at it, it's kind of alarming that you get drafted and maybe you're okay, but then you go on to a second team. I mean, you start out with Winston and Mariota. They're gone. Dante Fowler. Amari Cooper was the one guy we looked at, and I thought he was good with the Raiders, but now he's with the Dallas Cowboys. So you start to look at these guys and say, how many of these guys will really be impactful? How many are going to stay with their respective teams? Tristan Wirfs, I thought Buccaneers did great. You got your left tackle here for Tom Brady. Get a couple of linemen here, you're ready to go. That was the big weakness. Get a couple of linemen, a couple other ones, you're good to go. 49ers, you trade away a great defensive lineman, you get the potential for a great defensive lineman, just a cheaper one. Getting a wide receiver. I like what the Niners did. But you start to go through this and you go, I'm not sure about that guy. Well, that doesn't mean it's the wrong pick for that team because these guys are actually doing their homework. We just read mock drafts. Now, I do talk to people, so I do get a better sense. The only thing I got, and McLevin said this yesterday, hey, are you going to text us at some point and let us know what you know before the draft? And usually this happens every year. I get some information usually around 7:30 prior to the draft. And I only got one text yesterday, and it was that Tua is going to go to the Dolphins. They played their hand correctly. He's going to the Dolphins. And I text back and I said, well, wait, what happened? They did want Joe Burrow, couldn't get Joe Burrow, and they know that nobody else is going up to get him. They're going to take Tua. And I go, okay. That wasn't enough that I was going to send out a text to you guys and say, hey, Tua's going to the Dolphins there. That was the only pick that I heard that, somebody said, hey, I know you're big on Tua going to the Dolphins. He's going there. That was it. I didn't get any other information there. Yeah, McLovin.
So was there a full smoke screen going on?
Yes.
A traditional smoke screen the past week?
Yes. Yeah. But I said, not exactly a full smoke screen because you got to profess your love if you're going to go all in on Joe Burrow. You can't go, man, we really want Joe Burrow. Didn't get him? We really love Tua Tagovailoa. Come on in. We love you. We love you so much. I mean, we really, really like you, but we really love Joe Burrow. The Bengals did well. They did the right thing for them. They took Joe Burrow. You got your quarterback. Let's see how this all plays out for you. Chargers with Justin Herbert. I'm not sure about him. I just, and sometimes you look at the market, the city that you play in. Tim Duncan was perfect for San Antonio. Justin Herbert is a small town kid. Maybe San Diego would have been better for him. Now he's in Los Angeles. Now, hey, you got to be the face of the franchise here. There's a lot that goes along with that. Are you able to do that? Do you have the infrastructure? Are you going to be asked to be, doing TV show, radio show? There's a little bit more attached to that. There's certain guys where you go, that's the right place for them, given their personality. But there was a lot that unfolded last night. CeeDee Lamb dropping to Dallas. Dallas had trade offers for that pick. They had 3 trade offers. And I think that Jerry Jones, he didn't have to be around the rest of the war room. So, that's where Jerry probably puts people on mute. Didn't hear you. Cowboys going to take CeeDee Lamb. Yes. Although I love the pick because I think he's the best receiver in the draft. I do. Yeah, McLevin.
But another skill position guy for the Cowboys are so invested. I mean, they're paying Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott. They're going to pay their quarterback. Did you feel like this could have been a Zach Martin opportunity where they go with the smart, boring player?
I thought that they were going to take a lineman. Who is it? Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan.
Oh, he's good. Fantastic interior lineman.
Oh, great upside there. But I never know with the Cowboys. Because Jerry loves shiny objects, man. He's on his $250 million yacht. You don't draft a lineman when you're on your yacht. You draft a wide receiver. Oh, this program brought to you by the great folks at LegalZoom. LegalZoom has made it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today with the right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. Yes, McLovin.
Yeah, I saw that pick. And then they showed CeeDee Lamb's highlights. I mean, he got caught a 5-yard pass and broke 10 touchdowns in a row. What am I missing? Why was he not a top 8 pick? Same with Judy. They seem higher.
Well, Ruggs going off the board, and he's got great speed. I get that. John Ross had great speed with the Bengals. I don't know what you are, route runner and all that. It feels like, Jerry Jeudy was a better wide receiver. But, is Ruggs John Ross or is he Tyreek Hill? I don't know. But with Alabama, you're never quite sure with those wide receivers. CeeDee Lamb, even though he had very good quarterbacks, Heisman Trophy winners, it felt like he could make something out of nothing. And he played bigger. Yeah, Paulie.
But, you can't critique the players they took because you don't know how they're going to work out, but you can critique strategy. And that's like Mel Kiper was critiquing the Raiders by saying, you got players you could have got 6 or 7 picks later, like that you could have gotten a better, more trustworthy wide receiver in CeeDee Lamb. And then the defensive back the Raiders took, Damon Arnett out of Ohio State. If he's an all-pro, it's okay. But he even said, the Raiders could have taken that player around later and built up draft capital.
I wondered what Green Bay was, preventing when they go up to get Jordan Love. So you go from 30 to 26. And I look at the teams behind them, and not that they would have taken a quarterback, but somebody was going to move up. So if you look at where Jordan Love goes 26th. After that, it's Seattle, Baltimore, Tennessee. Now, Tennessee, I thought, by the way, Mike Vrabel's war room, or whatever that was, his man cave was awesome. There was a whole lot going on there. Whole lot.
Like Seton said, it looked like an episode of Breaking Bad.
It was really strange. Tennessee, I thought, could go all in on Jordan Love. The Dolphins already had their quarterback. Vikings, Kansas City. Yeah, so I thought maybe Tennessee would be the team if he was there that they would take him. Because keep in mind, Green Bay was at 30. They went to 26. And Tennessee was at 29. That was the only thought that I had is we have to leapfrog because somebody's going to take Jordan Love. And by the way, it's not like he's a gift. He fell into your lap. Look at the mock drafts. Look at Daniel Jeremiah. You know, he was targeted in the 23 to 30 range. It's not like Green Bay went, we got to go get him. This wasn't Kansas City going up to get Patrick Mahomes. This wasn't Houston going up to get Deshaun Watson. You went up. Did you have to go up? Would he have fallen in your lap? But we'll talk to Rob Domofsky, who covers the Packers. He'll join us next hour. We'll ask him, did the Packers feel like somebody else was going to go all in on Jordan Love? Because this wasn't like you got him at a bargain. Not at all. McLevin, what kind of poll questions do you have?
Well, let's start with the Packers. Does Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay? How do you think people would vote on that?
Well, I don't know. I would say no. I'd say no. Not many quarterbacks. You know, Elway did. Breeze was on a second team. Marino is there. Ben Roethlisberger will end his career as a Steeler. How many guys do it? Not many. So I'd say no. I think Aaron Rodgers in 2 years will decide if he wants to play for another team or he will retire. But I would say no. He's not going to.
Yeah.
What else do you have?
Okay, QB poll. Which QB that was drafted last night makes a Pro Bowl first, considering the situations? You got Burrow in Cincinnati, Tua in Miami, Herbert in L.A., and Jordan Love with the Packers. Probably not Love.
Yeah.
But which of the top three has the best chance of sort of being good first?
I'm going to say Joe Burrow because he's going to start. I don't think Justin Herbert and Tua are going to start. Now they're going to compete, but if I'm Miami, I slow play Tua. You got Ryan Fitzpatrick there, slow playing. I would say Joe Burrow because he gets to start, maybe puts up some decent numbers there and makes it as an alternate for the Pro Bowl. I did watch what Jacksonville was doing. Jacksonville went defense first round, both picks, because that's a team, in my opinion, tanking. Because they're going to be all in the sweepstakes for a quarterback next year. They couldn't get there this year. You got a couple of defensive draft picks, and then you go offense. Kansas City drafting a running back, and I love him.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I think in today's NFL, that's why Dobbins is so good, but he's a great runner. Taylor out of Wisconsin, great runner. I was told didn't have great hands, but I love this kid. I mean, I'm getting a running back who's versatile, and I get him at the end of the first round. I thought Kansas City, maybe that puts an end to Leonard Fournette's future in Kansas City. But I thought, if you're looking at the Chiefs, now I thought, Chiefs, you might need a little more defense here. Feels like you got some offense. This is a team that's like, we're just going to outscore you. Hey, you might get 30 points on us. We're getting 45 on you. All right, we'll talk to Chris Sims. He was certainly down on Tua. He didn't think, and prior to the draft, didn't think that he was a top 10 pick, even if he was healthy. We'll get his thoughts on Tua going to the Dolphins and Jordan Love. How does he think Aaron Rodgers is going to react to this? And what kind of season does he think Aaron Rodgers is going to have? I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have an unbelievable season. I do. I think he'll have an unbelievable season. But they had a very good season last year. They went away from the Super Bowl. Oh, that was fun last night. All right, 20 after the hour. This is the Dan Patrick Show. You check things all the time, your email, your Instagram. You're always checking things except for the things that are really important, like your credit. When's the last time you did it? And you probably haven't done it. Discover makes it quick and easy, and best of all, it's free. Discover's offering FICO credit scores. That's a score used by 90% of top lenders, and you get it for free. It's really important to know that. Checking your score won't hurt your credit, and you can check each month for changes. The Discover Credit Scorecard, free for everyone. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. Does LeBron have to do something, or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all times. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me, it's MJ all day long, only because how I played against him. And, MJ just had everything, from mid-range to three-point to post-up game, and he could score and dominate in each position. LeBron is dominant. LeBron could do so many things on the floor. And
do you think LeBron's a better all-around player than Jordan?
It's hard. That's hard to say because, LeBron is probably one of the best passers, that the league has seen. MJ that's probably the weakest part of his game. He didn't pass a lot, but at the same time, MJ didn't have any other weaknesses in his game. And defensively, he was a two-way player. Defensively, he was incredible and just as dominant.
Well, I still look at LeBron, a better rebounder, better passer. Mike was not shooting a three back then. He would have developed into
he still could shoot it, though.
Yeah, but LeBron has turned into at least a dangerous three-point shooter. Like you have to account for him when he takes those shots. But the personality, though, is, I think, the biggest difference. Because Mike wanted to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Was he mean to you?
No, he wasn't. He actually killed me slowly. And, yeah, he would comment to the coach, he's actually doing a great job out here. And meanwhile, he's pouring in 45.
Wait, he's talking to your coaches?
Yeah, I remember Chris Ford, he's yelling at me. Chris Ford's yelling the whole time, like, rookie, get in front of him. And I'm fronting him on the post, and MJ just kind of slowly glides across the floor, and he gets the ball and shakes and scores. And I did everything the game plan said, and then there's a break in action. We're sitting there, and, Chris Ford is just down there just hammering me, and MJ was like, he's doing a great job, coach. He's actually doing a great job. Meanwhile, he's got 45 on the books. So I was like, yeah.
Did you think that Mike didn't want you taken out because he had 45 in the books? Like he wanted you to guard him?
No, I honestly believe that he didn't think that anybody could stop him. He can score whenever he wanted to score, wherever he wanted to score. So it didn't matter what I did out on the floor. He was going to get his touches. He was going to get his points. More
unstoppable, though, when they get that mindset, Michael or Kobe?
Certainly Michael.
Really?
Yeah.
Because, Kobe put up 81.
Yeah, that was a bad Toronto defense at the time. I remember
it's still 81, right?
Yeah. It's a marvelous
he had 60
feat.
In his last game he played.
Yeah, it was a marvelous feat. It's hard to really compare the generations. If you look at what MJ did during his era, like I played in between both those eras, and the rules were totally different. Like you can't touch a guy now. A guy will go to the free throw line 20, 25 times a game just off of ticky-tack stuff.
But it used to, and Phil Jackson said this when he was promoting his book years ago. If Mike played today, he would average 45 in his prime.
Easy.
You believe that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why it's, so much is made about the errors. It's just not a comparison. To compare what we do now, what's going on now, to what's happened in the 80s and the 90s.
Well, they would beat up James Harden now.
Oh yeah,
like he'd go to the floor a few times.
Yeah, if he flopped once or twice, they would make sure they gave him a reason to flop or fall down. It wouldn't be them guessing. Did somebody hit him? Right now, when we see a foul, we're always guessing. Well, did he get touched? What happened? his hand went this way, so it's always like we're trying to decipher what happened in the play. But back in the 80s and early 90s, it was like he just kind of took his elbow and went right across his head. And it was a real foul.
Yeah, they didn't call flagrants back then.
Yeah, no.
They would just say, that's a foul. That's a hard foul is what you get.
Foul.
And
when
playoff fouls.
Yeah, I remember going to the hole as a young fella, and you got knocked down, literally. You got knocked down, and you went to go make a layup, and you hit the ground. If the ball went in the air, then they'll knock you down, and it's not a foul because the ball's gone already. Nowadays, it's excessive. They might throw you out of the game.
Settle on a poll question, stat of the day, play of the day. Pretty good night for the SEC last night. Ohio State, LSU, Alabama. If you expand it out of the SEC, they pretty much dominated the first round. Eric in Washington joins us. Hey, Eric, what do you have for me today?
Yeah, hi, Dan.
Hey, Eric.
5'8", 170. I would like to post a new poll question.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Has there ever been anyone that accused Jerry Jones of actually being a good GM?
I think he's done some smart things, but it almost felt, sometimes he's forced to those. Like Dak Prescott, they wanted Connor Cook out of Michigan State. Thank you, Eric. And CeeDee Lamb, I like CeeDee Lamb. Now you can say, do they need another wide receiver there? Jerry loves shiny toys, man. You can't make a pick from your $250 million yacht and say we're going to take an offensive lineman. He took a wide receiver. Wanted to have a little fun there. And I think it's a great pick, too. Chris Sims, his job is to analyze the draft, and he is brutally honest. He surprised me when I heard him on Doug Gottlieb's show where he was talking about Tua Tagovailoa and Joe Burrow, and I went, Sims is doing it again. Pro Football Talk Live co-host and host of the Chris Sims Unbuttoned podcast. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, what's up, Danny boy? How you doing, man? Miss you. You doing all right?
I'm doing okay. Let me start with Jordan Love going to the Packers. He didn't fall into their lap. They went up to get him. And why? Why did they move up to get him?
Well, I'd like to know the same answer to that question. I'm not sure I understand that either. Okay, two things jump out to me. The first thing being, who were they scared of that they thought might trade into the first round? There was no picks there on the board that were ahead of them at that moment that were going to take a quarterback. Now, I don't know if they felt like the Colts or, I don't know, maybe the Patriots or somebody else, I don't know, thought maybe they would trade back in the first round to get a quarterback. Certainly a possibility, but I have no knowledge of that. So that's curious to me right off the bat. And then two, yeah, Dan, I don't like it. Again, Aaron Rodgers, and especially in an era right now where we're seeing quarterbacks can play to 40 years old and still play at a really high level, Rodgers is still one of the 5 best quarterbacks in the sport. So to me, when I look at that, I just go, well, okay, yeah, I really like Jordan Love. He's a project, so he certainly needs to sit for a year, maybe 2. He's really raw. He's got great high-end talent. But I just wonder if Green Bay will ever really bear the fruits of anything they get out of the player, because I think by the time his second contract's coming around, Aaron Rodgers is still going to be playing quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. So I don't understand that, and, I would have liked to see them, Dan, go defensive tackle or something like that. They still haven't stopped the 49ers running. I mean, Mostert's still running from the NFC Championship game.
I think Tennessee at 30 or 29 might have been that team if you're just looking at, they could afford to develop him in Tennessee. That was the thought I had. You go from 30 to 26. You got Tannehill there. He's a Band-Aid for a couple of years. And then maybe you get Jordan Love and you find your quarterback of the future. That was the thought that I had, when they made that move up. And the other part of this, Aaron Rodgers makes a whole lot of money the next 2 years. Then after that third year is not devastating against the cap. Does Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay?
Well, I think it's dicey right now. I think, Aaron Rodgers, as we know, first off, he can be a little chippy, right? I mean, he can hold a grudge. We know that. Yeah. I think this is going to piss him off. I do. I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to stick it to Green Bay 2 years from now. And, I threw for 38 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. go ahead, have Jordan Love. I'll move on. See you later. You know, and I mean, you're right. They're paying him a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money to where we're going at the quarterback position. I mean, crap. You know, Jared Goff's making as much money as Aaron Rodgers, and they're not even in the same stratosphere. So Patrick Mahomes is going to be signing something for $40 million a year here soon. Dak Prescott is going to be making more money than Aaron Rodgers per year. So, yeah, it's just a head-scratcher to me. I just think it's, you know, again, I understand accumulating quarterback talent, and at that position, there's great value to it. I just don't know if I see the value. To me, it's different than, you know, Brett Favre was threatening to retire. You know, Tom Brady, there was a slippage in play when they drafted Jimmy Garoppolo in the second round, and I think the Patriots were truly concerned. And then of course, Tom Brady, he fixed a few things about his game and became better and was, you know, amazing for another 4 or 5 year stretch. You know, this to me smells a lot like John Elway and Maddox, who they drafted out of UCLA back in the early 90s, where, you know, I don't know if this team's going to get anything out of this pick, and some other team might bear the fruits of his talent at some point.
Yeah, but Chris, I don't know if the Packers, you know the personality of Aaron Rodgers. You're aware of what this is going to do to him. Could this be on purpose that maybe you're gonna piss him off?
Yeah.
Like you want him that way. You know how great he is.
I mean, Dan, I think I thought of the same things, and I think it's a great point. You're right. Maybe this puts the pressure on him, you think, to raise his level of play?
I don't know.
Maybe it's some master plan to maybe what you're saying, to where they're going, okay, maybe we just don't want to pay that type of money 2 or 3 years from now on our roster, and they're willing to move on from a guy like Aaron Rodgers. I would doubt that, but, you know, who knows? Maybe we're starting into a new age in football where teams are going to start looking to make that switch, to go with the young quarterback, not have that big number on the salary cap, because we've seen Seattle win a Super Bowl that way. Kansas City won a Super Bowl that way. The Eagles have won a Super Bowl that way. Maybe that'll be a new trend. I don't know. It's really interesting, and I think you bring up some good questions for sure.
He's Chris Sims, NBC sports analyst, former NFL quarterback. Dolphins have a good day yesterday?
Yes, they did. You know, you said it, Dan. I mean, yes, I'm not a huge fan of Tua. I certainly thought he was a first-round talent. I did. The injury history, the style of play, the size of the human being would concern me. You know, I think for some reason people think this is like Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray, and he's going to be able to run around the field and play the way they play. And I would first off just argue and go, no, Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray are the fastest people on their team. Like, they beat the receivers and the DBs in races. That's how fast they are. And even they have a hard time scrambling. So, yeah, with the injury history, it certainly concerns me, Dan. And when I really evaluated him, there was so many other plays where I came away going, ooh, did he hurt his knee? Ooh, did he hurt his shoulder? Ooh, did he hurt his ankle? And that concerned me as well, let alone, you know, I don't want to bag on the player. I just think he's being overrated in the evaluation process a little bit. I think he's getting a lot of credit for the Alabama machine, in which it is, and we're in this era of we give the quarterback all the credit when things like that happen. And I think he's benefiting a little bit from that, and, you know, a little overhyped, in my opinion, from that standpoint.
What about the Chargers?
I mean, I love Justin Herbert. I do. So I understand them picking him at number 6. To him sitting there on the board, you know, I could sit here and argue that I think he might have the highest ceiling of any of the quarterbacks in the draft. Now, people talk about, you know, issues. Listen, decision-making, yeah, maybe not always perfect. I get that. But at the same time, I would say a lot of the issues I had with Justin Herbert, I came away going, well, it's a crappy offense. Oh, it's, you know, there's not a lot of talent around him. You know, the offense was choppy at times, but I didn't blame Justin Herbert. Listen, if you put Justin Herbert on LSU or Alabama, his stats and play was going to look a whole lot different. I can promise you that. So I think he's a big-time talent. And then the Chargers getting Kenneth Murray, Dan, later on in the first round and, you know, the 20s there, man, this Chargers defense, they were already a borderline Super Bowl type defense. And now you add this type of linebacker, that second level with Derwin James, a strong safety, and all the other talented guys they got. I go, wow, watch out for the Chargers.
Yeah, I felt the same way, because we look at the Chargers and say, boy, that's quite an offense there. And I always remind people, the reason why I thought that they could have won the Super Bowl a couple of years ago was because they had a defense that went along with that great offense. And now you look at this situation with that defense is elite, or at least
elite.
It looks like it can be elite.
No, I mean, I'm with you, Dan. I think you're spot on. I mean, hey, I don't think a lot of people realize even last year with the poor record, the Chargers were one of the 5 best defenses in football. And, they got Linval Joseph in free agency. We know the pass rushers they have. They have Jerry Tillery, who was a first-round pick last year from Notre Dame, who is going to, I think, be a force to be reckoned with here in year 2. And then, you mentioned it, Derwin James, Chris Harris Jr. in free agency. Casey Hayward's already there. I mean, they got a very talented football team. And like you said, the offense is in a pretty good spot. They got to shore up that O-line a little bit here in rounds 2 and 3. But I'm with you. The Chargers are one I'm putting a little mark next to say watch out for in 2020.
How did Tom Brady do yesterday?
Oh, well, first off, I mean, he's still got to be flying high about being down in Tampa, getting Gronk this week. I mean, that was awesome. Tristan Wirfs, I really applaud the move of the Buccaneers to try to get somebody to play right tackle. Tristan Wirfs did play right tackle at Iowa. I'll say
well,
I have some questions. Yes, I have some questions.
Okay.
In my evaluation, I thought Tristan Wirfs was more of a guard than a tackle. And they really need the tackle. Now, if he has to move to guard, that won't be the worst thing in the world. But, man.
That's a big guard, though, Chris.
It's a big guard. I know. I get it. I got you. But, the foot speed of the athlete does not match the numbers at the combine. When you watch film, and if anybody wants to go back there and watch the Penn State game, watch the Michigan game, and there's a few other games that are very concerning with people just beating him because of lack of foot speed. So, I'm sure the Bucs did their due diligence there and feel like they can work with him in those areas. And I think, nonetheless, it's a great thought, and they needed to protect Tom Brady if they want to play the style of football they want to play down in Tampa.
Best quarterback available tonight?
Oh, best quarterback available, I think for me, is the kid Luton from Oregon State. Okay. Yeah, you know me. My list isn't always the same as everybody else. But I look at him as good size, good arm, really consistent, accurate decision maker, can throw with a little power and anticipation. I think he's the next guy up for me that I look at to go, I would take a chance on him. It's either him or Nick Eason from Washington. It's one of those two. Eason's a little raw, Dan, but does have a big-time arm, and I think teams that value that are going to look at him and go, man, he makes a lot of awesome throws. There's some off-the-field issues with him. I think people not so sure how detailed and willing he is to work at the position and things like that, but he does have big talent.
Who made the move yesterday where you went, they have no idea what they're doing?
Oh, gosh, man. I guess the one that just makes me scratch my head the most it's either the Raiders pick with the kid Damon Arnett, right?
Ohio State.
Yes, I like the player. I think he was, top half of the second round, middle of the second round type of guy. But he's a true nickel corner, to my opinion. And, I don't like drafting corners that run 4, 5, 7 in the top 20 picks of the draft. I don't like drafting nose tackles who are 260 pounds either. To me, that's just a no-no. So there's things about his game I really like, definitely. I've really liked everything Mike Mayock has done to build the Oakland Raiders, except for his first picks in the first round the last 2 years.
We had Cleveland Farrell, and you're just going, wait a minute, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have got Cleveland Farrell at 34 or 44 last year in the draft.
Yeah.
And they took him off the field in pass rushing situations last year. So to me, a little bit of the draft and the beauty of it always is, and this, is the understanding of where players are going to be picked and the value of picking a player at that spot. I think they probably could have got this kid at the top of the second round if they really wanted to and had no issues with being worried about that. But either way, they fell in love with him. I was a little shocked by that and the Eagles with Jalen Reagor at pick 21.
I have you today, Jesse Palmer today, Mark Sanchez. Out of those three quarterbacks at their peaks, who had the best arm?
Oh, wow. Damn. Well, I'd like to say I had the best arm. I would like to say that. Now, I'm sure they're going to argue that. That's fine. They're definitely more handsome than me. I know that for sure. Damn, that's a good-looking group you're talking about there. You know, me and, you know, I've been around Palmer and Sanchez a little. Palmer a few times. They're both great guys. And Palmer, funny story, Dan, you know, he's the bachelor, right?
Yeah.
They asked me to be the bachelor that same year when I was still the backup quarterback in Tampa Bay. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was like, John Gruden will just absolutely eviscerate me and might cut me if I end up committing to the bachelor. And, you know, I heard that when, you know,
were
when
you
I
the
said,
choice before Palmer?
I don't know, but I know they asked me. I don't know if they were just waiting for one of us to answer or say yes, but that year they asked me as well. And I know I said no pretty quickly, and I don't know if they already had asked Jesse or were waiting for an answer. I don't know, but I know I was in the shuffle.
Okay, but Jesse does it. He's got Tom Coughlin as his coach. You just had Gruden as your coach. If you played for a different team, you know, the interesting part is they asked Chris, and he thought about being the bachelor, and he was married at the time. That's what I thought was really strange with that, Chris.
It is. My wife would have questioned that a little bit. But it was good publicity. So
if you played on another team, would you?
Yes.
Would
no,
you?
I would never have done it. Never.
Your
never,
dad would have crushed you.
Right. I mean, I grew up, yes, with Phil Simms, who was coached under Bill Parcells. All right. Do you think that would have gone down? And you know, I'd also say with Jesse Palmer, you know, I don't know how long his career ended up being, but I would question that it might have been shorter than he would have liked because of that. But it worked out nonetheless. He's still kicking butt.
Oh, let's put it this way. He had a longer career off the field.
That's right. He definitely did. And he's kicking butt off the field.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be ashamed for any decisions he made.
Yeah, he did well. Hey, great to talk to you again. Good stuff. And we appreciate your time as always, Chris.
Anytime, man. Be good, be safe. I'll talk to you soon, buddy.
Chris Simms, NBC Sports football analyst. Out of everything he told me, that was the most interesting thing. He might have been the first choice before Jesse Palmer. Man, that would be tough to do it. Like, I couldn't do it. I could not do it. Now, granted, I'm not good looking enough, but I couldn't have done that because I think my brothers and sisters would have just roughed me up so badly. And my mom would be like, oh, Danny, what are you doing? Like, I couldn't do it. Could not do it. Yeah, Paul.
But if you look at Jesse Palmer, he only made 3 starts in the pros, played 2 years. He set himself up for a huge post-football career, and it's going even better now.
Oh, he was in the red zone quite often off the field. So he did, he's okay. He did well, and he's a great analyst as well. We should take a break here. Play of the day is coming up next. Your phone calls as well. We'll check in with the Packers coming up top of the hour. And the aforementioned Jesse Palmer will join us coming up next hour here on the Dan Patrick Show.
All right. Third and Shelby Day is going to take place at 3:30.
Are you a Patriots guy?
Of course I am.
I mean, you kind of got to be, right?
Of course I am. But yeah, well, all things New England and Boston for me, I'm the guy that rooted for the Strangler.
A lot of pressure on the Patriots coming into this season. And the Chiefs.
Yes and no.
Well, there's
and here's the thing
expectations,
too.
maybe.
Here's the thing too: is it's difficult to find any sympathy or even love for you know anywhere else but New England for the Patriots, and so it's gravy. As far as we're concerned, and it's difficult for anybody else to say, you know, we're talking about GOATs. You know, greatest of all time. We're talking about Bill Belichick and we're talking about Tom Brady. And then you can go on a third, the combination of the two is the greatest of all time. And that's difficult to dispute. And maybe Up until last year, maybe there was some argument, but there's not anymore. And then the minute, they lose the season opener to a team that overachieved and performed better than we thought, those young Kansas City players looked good. And that's an unknown. They were very fast, they're very young, and maybe they're tomorrow. Playing sport, loving sports never left me. Playing sports, I wasn't as good as people think I was. And there was one time on MTV, people just assume I played baseball and played stuff like that. I looked like a square-headed jock for some reason, but I drew pictures and wrote poetry, if the truth be known. But so I was on TV, and I think it was, the name of the MTV VJ was Louis Largent, and he goes, "Well, I understand you have a, baseball experience." And for no other reason, I said, "Oh, are you talking about when I was pitcher for the AAA ball player for Pittsburgh Pirates?" And he goes, "You were?" And then I was like, "Oh my God, he believes me." And I go, "Yes, I was, fastball pitcher. I had a heater." And then, of course, I threw, like so many of us, I threw my arm out.
My elbow.
Never made it to the bigs. That was on MTV. And then from there, people in the minor leagues were coming to my shows going, "I'm still in there, man, trying to get to the bigs." And I'm like, dude,
a source of inspiration now for me.
I felt bad. I lied to him. It was like, yes, that was it. "We love you, dude. I never played a game."
That's like the gift of being a good storyteller, is that people just believe there's stuff coming out of your mouth.
I said another time, I said, I wear a very expensive top of the line toupee, and I just around said it on TV. And then every other interview at that time, when people were cared to interview me, I was getting this a lot. People So anyway, Dickie.
No kidding.
Yeah. Can't even tell.
The play of the day.
Runner left side, got it! They're gonna play it and play it.
This is the play of the day.
Check this out.
The Miami Dolphins have traded the 26th pick to the Green Bay Packers. With the 26th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
Little Curtis Mayfield there. Move on up. That's courtesy of ESPN. The Dolphins trade out of the 26th spot. That's the pick they got from Houston for Laramie Tunsil. Packers take Jordan Love. We'll check in with the Packers coming up top of the hour. Play of the day is brought to you by LegalZoom. No matter what happens, you want to make sure your loved ones are taken care of. That's why LegalZoom has made it easy to set up the right estate plan. And you don't have to leave your home. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. This is from USPS McGee in South Carolina. The Niners missed out on hometown Tom Brady this year in 3 years. They won't strike out on Aaron Rodgers when he comes home. Heard it here first. I'll hang up and listen. Appreciate your enthusiasm. So we already got Rodgers taking over for Brady in Tampa and Rodgers taking over for Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, he went to Cal, so I guess that would be sort of a homecoming of sorts for him as well. A couple of phone calls. We'll settle on a poll question. Jeff in Detroit joining us. Hi, Jeff. How are you?
What up, though? Fellas? Hey, hello to chat roll, easing in on the Meat Friday. Hey, listen, I have a question for you, man.
Okay.
As far as the NFC the NFC finals coming up, who do you think will make it there first? Dallas Cowboys, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. With the way that Dallas moved yesterday, man, I honestly believe that they made a couple of moves to put themselves in the running to do some good things. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are. Who will make it to the NFC conference final first?
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff. I've been really high on the Cowboys the last 2 years, and they have really let me down. I'm starting to feel like they're the NFC version of the Chargers. Got a lot of talent, but got to get you over the hump. Mike McCarthy coming in, that could be a really big game changer for them. You got to get Dak Prescott in camp. Sorry to hear Dak losing his brother. Died yesterday. But, I like what Dallas has done. I like CD Lamb. I don't know how good that defense is. Tampa Bay's got a good – Tampa feels like a more balanced team. And if you get a couple more linemen there that can help you with Brady in the draft, Tampa Bay's going to be ready to go. I would say Dallas, but then I've been saying Dallas for a couple of years now. McLovin has a one line against the grain. What's the topic?
Okay, this is why everyone made mistakes last night. I have one reason, and I'll give you a hint. I say the same thing every single year, every draft.
Mm-hmm.
Because next year's draft is so sick. I was looking at the names. You got Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields. There's so many guys we've heard of. Jamar Chase, who was a way better LSU guy. Justin Ross out of Clemson. Waddle and Smith out of Alabama. Chuba Hubbard. Travis Etienne. That guy's amazing. I can't say his name right. And apparently there's a North Dakota State quarterback that people are going gaga over named Trey Lance. How good is that name?
That guy's good.
Yes.
He didn't throw an interception this year.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, next year's draft, remember we were going to tank for Tua? Now you got to tank for everybody. How does this happen every year, Dan, where I get excited about next year's quarterbacks the day of the draft?
You're not alone. We do it. Everybody does this because you can't have those guys and you're like, oh, that guy is going to be unbelievable. And that's not always the case because here we are this year and where we were last year waiting for this year, and you go, Joe Burrow out of nowhere, Tua's banged up, Justin Herbert, we're still not sure of. And then you got a guy, Jordan Love, who's now with the like you're just going, it changes so quickly. And that's where it's dangerous, where you lock in, you go, that guy can't miss. I'm still waiting for, is Christian Hackenberg on a roster anymore?
Nope.
I mean, we're still.
XFL?
Well,
oh, no.
There's no XFL. Yeah, Paulie.
I'm going to disagree with McLovin. He did this last year because he's like, Justin Herbert's coming back. He's going to be even better. And he was a hot property last year. Tua was expected the number one pick. And then you throw Joe Burrow in. You have three guys who all were rumored to be the number one pick in the draft at some point in their college careers. They were all drafted last night. It was a hot draft.
But Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields feel a little different because
now they do. But we're going to pick
history.
that. We are going to rough up Justin Fields next year, and somehow Clemson will have a couple off games, and they'll tear apart Trevor Lawrence. Like he wasn't focused. He was thinking.
And we still have that bet, right, McLovin? You got Trevor Lawrence going number one overall.
Yeah. And it never works out. Matt Barkley? No, that didn't happen.
No, I know. What do we have? A shower of shame attached to this? Or
I love it.
Do we wear just some kind of silly outfit?
Let's do the silly outfit. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that's fine. How about you have to wear a Trevor Lawrence wig?
There you go.
How about that?
I kind of look like Trevor Lawrence.
No, you
long
don't.
Hair.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. You don't look like Clive Owen either.
I look more like Clyde Edward-Helaire.
What? check in with the Packers. And Jesse Palmer from the Mothership will join us. More of your phone calls as well on this Meat Friday here on the Dan Patrick Show. We do this every Super Bowl where we get draft profiles.
You give your hosts horrible
Wait, that
introductions?
that was a bad
You do that?
introduction?
I've had better.
Oh, you have you had worse? Okay. This is when you were coming out of Texas.
Okay.
This was your draft profile.
Ooh, from who? Do we know?
Paulie, do we know who? We cobbled together.
Mostly the negative.
Yeah.
We cut out all the positive.
Thank
I can give you the names after the segment.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm
So
ready.
go ahead and read your draft profile.
Needs to work on his accuracy. Okay. Scouts question his ability in big games because he hadn't come up big against top teams in the country. Hey, true. We lost to Oklahoma. It was me versus Oklahoma, too. Just nobody else was out there. No coaches, no team. It was just me versus them.
Just keep reading.
Yep. Sorry, I got to throw some,
right.
Has first round ability, but his failure to come up in the big games, particularly against Oklahoma, led some to question his toughness. I was supposed to block Roy Williams when he jumped over the pile and throw it and catch it. Did you know that? Okay. 0 touchdown passes, 14 interceptions in games against the top 10. That hurts, but that's a fact. Yes. Okay. His delivery is a little slow at times, and I think he's a little too slow finding stuff over the middle. That's why you get the turnovers. I think that could extend into this league. He had a flawed college career. Yes, I was the top-rated passer in the Big 12 for 3 years in a row and in the top 5 twice. But although he's a great kid, he's very blonde, very fair. The Tampa shouldn't have drafted me for that. All the sun down in Tampa, and he's still a lot of maturity ahead of him. To me, that means he's not ready by a long shot.
Okay.
Damn, who is this person?
Okay, this is an actual quote there.
Yeah.
Although he's a great kid, he's very blonde.
Yes,
he's very what the hell does that mean about being a quarterback?
I don't know, but that's scouts can be biased in their own little ways.
Okay,
like that.
Were you helped or hurt by your dad being a great quarterback?
Oh, I mean, I think in the long run, I was probably helped. I mean, it certainly invites criticism, and people. I mean, still to this day, I mean, people think I'm only on TV or talk because your dad got you that job. That's. I always hear that.
You know what? You're better than your dad.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
You are.
Thanks.
No, you are.
Thanks. But, the football aspect, I would be lying. Hey, I grew up, I relished the fact that I would walk into a gym in 6th grade and I could hear, oh, there's Phil Simms' kid. There's Phil Simms' kid. And I would be like, I'm going to show them that I am Phil Simms' kid. I'm going to try to score 30 points tonight. And I kind of like the stage of that. So I think when I was one of the best quarterbacks in the country coming out of high school, going into college, I'm sure the Simms name helped me out and gave me a little more notoriety. I don't think there's any denying that.
buckle up, boys. Time to go to work. The Bengals will select and keep Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert by the Chargers. Tua Tagovailoa will be drafted by the Dolphins.
Not bad, Dan Patrick. No Tom in Ohio, of course, but solid and improving. This just in from the Tom in Ohio newsroom.
I have got a friend of a friend who knows Jimmy Haslam well. Daniel Snyder and Jimmy Haslam, they've been talking very seriously. Odell Beckham Jr. or Chase Young, and they're within one draft pick of making that move.
Stay tuned for more Tom in Ohio bombshells.
First reported by Tom in Ohio.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Tom in Ohio newsroom. And man cave, too, but that's a throw-in. Here's Dan Patrick.
We got wings on the Traeger. Got a lot of things to recap from last night. We got more sports coming up tonight. It's not really sports. It's sports related, but it was fun. It was nice to dive in for 4 hours, and it gave us a little bit more feeling of community. It was communal there where, you're just chewing it up, talking about these draft picks. What do you think your team is doing? What's it going to look like in a couple of years now? We'd like to hand out grades as well. We'll check in with the Packers coming up. Their great reporter, Rob Domofsky from ESPN. How's this going over in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, now with the heir apparent in Jordan Love? I like how they went, stop short of saying Jordan Love is the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers. If you're a Packer fan, I guess you got to look at this and say, I hope he's the heir apparent, because why are we moving up from 30 to 26 unless he is the heir apparent to Aaron Rodgers? But we'll talk to Rob Domofsky. Jesse Palmer from the Mothership does a great job covering college football. Join us coming up as well. A couple of phone calls. We'll settle on a poll question. Do we have a poll question, McLovin?
Yeah, I put up, will Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay? 60% said no. I honestly thought it'd be even higher. Like, how does this play out that he ends up there?
He's got 3 more years, I think, on his contract. And if you're looking at Jordan Love, if they treat Jordan Love the way they did Aaron Rodgers, then maybe in 3 years, maybe after 2 years. Does Aaron Rodgers want to continue to do this? How long does he want to continue to do this? These quarterbacks now playing into their late 30s, even into their 40s. Aaron Rodgers didn't strike me as somebody who was a lifer. Drew Brees, this is what he does. He chews this up. Tom Brady, the same way. Roethlisberger, I don't know how much longer he's going to play. But with Aaron Rodgers, he's there with Danica Patrick. It feels like there's business opportunities, and maybe he looks at doing something else. Just a feeling I never thought that Aaron Rodgers looked at football as a means to an end. Yes, McLovin.
Does first round mean that they have to play Jordan Love at some point? If you take a guy in the first round, does that mean that at some point you got to give him a shot?
Not this year.
But within 3 years,
yes. Yes. I mean, why are you taking him? Because that's first round draft pick money. Like, why am I taking him if I don't plan on playing him? If that's the case, then why didn't we take a defensive player or take another wide receiver, something like that? But if you're taking him in the first round, that's different. When John Elway was there in Denver and they took Tommy Maddox, that was different. And that changed John Elway and Dan Reeves' relationship. That's where you go, oh. Now, you take a second-round draft pick and use it on a quarterback. And, Jimmy Garoppolo didn't threaten Tom Brady initially. And then they saw him play, and then I think he was threatened by him. Yes, Seton.
But that's not right. Jordan Love's not going to threaten Aaron Rodgers' position. Like, at no point this season are you going to hear, are they going to put Love in? Rodgers is struggling a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, his spot as the starter is safe.
But
right?
That's the plan. That's the plan. Because it has to be. If you're saying to your franchise, what are we doing with our first-round pick? We're going to use it on your replace. I mean, we're going to use it on a quarterback. If you take somebody in the third round and you whiff on them, that's one thing. You had Tony Romo with Dak Prescott. I don't think Tony Romo was going to feel threatened by Dak Prescott anytime soon. And then all of a sudden, he got hurt. And then all of a sudden, you're bringing in Dak Prescott. Let's bring in the two-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Rob Domofsky of ESPN's NFL Nation. We've been doing this a long time, Rob, but I don't think...
You know what, Dan? I was thinking about that this morning, and I'm pretty sure it was 15 years ago, probably to this day, that we were talking about them drafting Aaron Rodgers to replace Brett Favre.
Do you remember what you felt, what you said about that strategy that day?
Yeah, I remember thinking that I get it because remember for how many years Favre had been waffling about retirement. It was an annual thing with him starting in about 2002 or 2003. So they had several years of the will he or won't he come back. So I felt a little different then than I do about this.
All right, how do you feel about this?
Surprised because Aaron Rodgers, has said that he wants to play till he's 40 or beyond. He's got 4 years left on that $134 million contract that he signed a couple summers ago. He's under contract through the 2023 season. And he has never said anything about, if I win one, I'm going to hang it up. If this happens, I'll walk away. No, there's been none of that. He admires Brady. He admires Breeze. He said that time and again. And the thinking was that he would follow, those guys and play to 40 and beyond.
Knowing his personality, and you, of course, have been around him a lot more than I have, but I've been around him socially, and it feels like football is not a means to an end, that he's not one of those lifers like Breeze or Brady, and I might be wrong in that. And also, I viewed this as, boy, if you want to, the Packers have to understand his personality too. How does this affect him now, these next 2 years? And that's where I think you probably go, okay, let's get this guy. Maybe he's 3 years away. Maybe this really gets Aaron Rodgers pissed off, and a pissed off Aaron Rodgers is a great, great quarterback. What do you think of that philosophy?
Yeah, there's definitely something to that, Dan. There's two ways it could go. There's one, like you said, it could put another chip on his shoulder, and you know how long he's operated with a chip on his shoulder. It goes back to being snubbed out of high school and having to go to Butte College. And then the draft, the whole thing falling, from when he was supposed to be 1 to 24. So the chip on the shoulder thing is definitely there. It could spark him to play his you-know-what off for the next couple of years. But he's also a very smart but calculating guy. And, I'm not so sure that the other side of it might be he might say, you know what, screw you guys. You're not helping me at all here. I'm not saying he's going to ask for a trade or anything, but I don't think it's going to sit overly well. We would hear for years how he was upset that they weren't signing free agents, that Ted Thompson was, not aggressive enough. Well, here's an opportunity, to get him some help offensively after a year in which they come one game away from the Super Bowl, and they do this. I could see him being a little ticked off and not in a good way.
Does Aaron Rodgers end his pro football career in a Packer uniform?
I asked somebody that knows him that last night. I asked that exact question, and they said yes, which surprised me. So maybe it speaks to your point in that, 2-3 more years. And he says, I've got other things. I've got bigger things I want to do. Look, we know he's big into the arts. He is a smart guy, well-read. Maybe there is something more for him after football.
We're talking to Rob Domofsky. He covers the Packers for ESPN, NFL Nation here. I also find this interesting, just like we saw with Garoppolo and Tom Brady, who share the same agent. Rodgers and Jordan Love are both clients of Athletes First, the same agency. Awkward. But they don't share the same age. By the way, is this that State Farm dude? Because that State Farm dude is going to get fired.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I actually looked up this week when I had heard that Jordan Love was on their radar. I said, well, I'll call his agent, see if there's anything to it. And then I looked at it was Athletes First, and I said, oh boy. Now that's a huge agency, obviously, as you know, Dan. But it's not unlike the fact that Mike McCarthy and Matt LaFleur also have the same agent.
I also wondered this. Who was going to swoop in and take Jordan Love It's one thing to take him because you say, hey, he was the best guy on the board and he fell into our lap. He didn't fall into your lap. You went to go get him, and you moved up 4 spots. Who do you think wanted Jordan Love and, made the Packers flinch?
Yeah, my guess is that somebody in the early second round, I think Indianapolis might have been there. And, and then there's the whole Patriots factor. You never know what they might do. So I would think it was one of those two.
And I'm going to guess that you're going to load up on skill position players in round 2 for Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they better. they better. The immediate response I was thinking would be, all right, now you trade up in the second round and get a receiver. I mean, you probably get a good one at 62 where they're sitting tonight. But as a show of good faith, don't you almost have to trade up to get a receiver and appease Rodgers in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, or bring in Des Bryant.
That would be an option also.
Oh, thank you, Rob. Well, it gives you something to chew on up there for quite some time.
Yep, thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
All right, bud. That's Rob Domofsky. Yeah, we've been talking to Rob a long, long time. And it might go back 15 years when Aaron Rodgers was selected with Brett Favre. The Green Bay Press Gazette, I think, for Rob Domofsky, now with NFL Nation, the team reporter for the Packers. Some phone calls here. Ted in Tampa joins us. Hi, Ted. What's on your mind today?
Hey, good, Dan. I got 2 points. Number one, with Joe Burrow, the Bengals are really well set up because last year they spent their number 1 draft pick getting Jonah Williams, 3-time first-team All-American from Alabama. And then the other point is we were home here yesterday when Tom Brady walked into the wrong house. He was looking for Byron Leftwich's house. And he walked into my neighbor's house who was doing work in his kitchen.
What did your neighbors say when Tom walked in?
I can't say everything, but you can see it on ESPN. He said to his wife, honey, Tom Brady is in our effing house. And unfortunately, his wife's not a sports fan. And so she shook Mr. Brady's hand. No idea who he was.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you, Ted. But didn't the kid out of Alabama they draft, McLevin, he didn't play last year for the Bengals? The offensive lineman.
Yeah, Jonah Williams.
Yeah, Jonah Williams didn't play for him last year, right?
No. He got hurt in August, I think, or something like that.
Right. Yeah, Paulie.
I'm shocked that neighbor still has his wife after Tom Brady walks to your house and meets your wife. Usually she's leaving.
Yeah. I don't know who that guy is next door, but he sure is handsome.
We have a lot of sources calling in, by the way.
Yeah, we do.
Sources everywhere.
We haven't heard from Tom in Ohio today after the potential blockbuster yesterday. I had 2 legitimate reporters ask me, what's the deal with Chase Young going to the Browns in exchange for Odell Beckham Jr.? And I said, well, it's Tom in Ohio. They go, who's he work for? I go, I don't know. And they're like, wait, who's Tom in Ohio? I said, just a listener. But he knows somebody who knows somebody who knows the owner of the Browns, and there's the potential that they're close to maybe making that deal. I'm watching that last night, and I'm going, oh, Tom in Ohio, please be right. Please be right, Tom in Ohio. Didn't work out. I did say to him, hey, I'll make you a Danette for a day. We'll make a T-shirt up if you're right. Anthony in California joins us. Hey, Anthony.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Love the Giants draft pick. They get some offensive support for Daniel Jones. But listen, I need your help with 2 important items.
Okay.
First, as a loyal member of Chat Row,
yes,
I think we should have our own T-shirt.
I said to you guys, why don't you design one?
Okay, and Penny as the mascot. And listen, you made a promise earlier when you started this YouTube channel that you'd talk to our bosses to explain why it's important that we need to listen to your show at work. So with that in mind, I've got my boss here,
okay,
and I'd like to put my boss on. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hold on.
All right.
Hi, Dan.
Hi, and what's your name?
This is Rosemary in California.
Hi, Rosemary. What does Anthony do for you?
Various things. He's actually IT.
Oh, IT. Is he a good employee?
Yes, he is, but I have to get him focused.
Okay. Well, I think by him listening to this show for a little while, it takes him away from the stress of the IT world and it'll allow him to focus. Because I think when he doesn't get to listen to this show, his mind wanders a little bit because he's wondering what kind of information and entertainment that we're delivering to the nation. Maybe an hour a day. Can Anthony listen to the show?
I think that would be acceptable.
Okay.
How many hours is your show?
It's 3 hours.
Oh.
Yes.
Well, I think he wants to possibly watch all three.
Okay.
But I'm saying one is fine.
Yes, I think let's start with one and see how his work is. And if it improves, then maybe we can give him an hour and a half. It's just you got to build it up slowly.
Well, I think maybe if he works on his honey-do list, that might be acceptable.
All right. Well, thank you, Rosemary, and good luck with Anthony. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Then there you go. Yeah, Paul.
There's 700 other people on hold wanting to do the same thing with their boss.
Yeah, I know. Rosemary seemed very nice there. I think she was a little, I don't know. She was kind of wavering on Anthony being a good employee. Kind of felt like, yeah, he is. Yes, McLovin.
She mentioned a honey-do list at the end. Wait, are they married?
That is not true. They might have been, but I think that he was the IT guy. I didn't know what he was doing when she didn't want to tell me what he did. Like saying he's an IT guy somehow is, some secret. Yes, Eden.
Right, because he put the air quotes boss on the phone. Yeah.
Jimmy in Chicago joins us. Hi, Jimmy. What do you have for me?
Hey, Dan. Did you see last night where the Raiders, I think they were picking 18th, and Commissioner Goodell said he was giving them a mulligan to host the draft, but he said in 2020.
Yeah.
And then he proceeded to say with the pick, he said with the 18th pick in the 2020 NFL draft, he kind of hesitated there. And then Trey Wingo said it would be a couple of years at least for them to host. So I was just wondering what's going on with that. And with the Bears picking 43 and 50 tonight, any suggestions on who they should get? Thank you.
I can't break down the Bears draft.
Come on.
I can't. I'm not going to.
I actually felt good as a Bears fan last night. They did nothing wrong.
Didn't screw it up. Didn't screw anything up. I'm going to guess maybe had some bad prompter copy. You can tell when somebody is reading off prompter, and the commissioner's in his basement. He wants to make sure he gets everything right, and all of that's on prompter. And somebody probably put that up there, and maybe he didn't read through it. Maybe he just read it incorrectly. Maybe the information was wrong. But having done this for a long time, you can see when somebody is reading off prompter because there are tells with their eyes. And sometimes their head moves a little bit. The commissioner's not used to reading off the prompter. And plus, given the conditions here, he's in his basement conducting the draft. I give him a little bit of leeway there. But, yeah, when he said, started talking about the 2020 draft, I go, no, not that year. And then he made a couple mistakes in the span of 30 seconds. I got a stat of the day here for you. If we can fire up some music that I find interesting, then we'll take a break. And then we'll talk to Jesse Palmer from the Mothership.
Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of the day!
Aaron Rodgers, in the last 4 seasons combined, has had 19 interceptions. Jordan Love, who the Packers just selected last night, had 17 interceptions last season.
Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Start of the day! Here comes the start of the day!
Take a break. More phone calls coming up. You can weigh in on the poll question. It's a Traeger Meat Friday. We have, sorry to tell you this, McLovin and Fritzy and Seaton, 3 types of chicken wings here. Because I said, look, I can't decide on which wings I want. So Alan, the IT guy, said, well, why don't I just made 3-way?
That's cruel.
Yeah, 3 types of wings.
What are you going with?
A buffalo, obviously. Sriracha. And
Sriracha?
the dry rub. Yeah. I like a good dry rub. Yeah. So those are the 3s. We're doing a 3-way here. That'll be coming up a little bit later on with our Traeger.
Not me.
Meat fry.
Yeah.
Paulie's not
You,
involved
Paul,
in the
and a threesome, huh?
And Dylan.
Nice. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Actually, Tyler, the moderator, is out there moderating the wings while moderating the chat room. The chat room that's our locker room. Those people those are the hardcore listeners there, viewers. Very valuable. And so everybody's invited to play in the chat room. I would say play nicely, but, you guys settle your differences there, and I always appreciate the comment. You keep us honest. Even when you're mean-spirited, I know you're being mean-spirited in a good way for the betterment of the show. At least that's what I keep telling McLovin when they rough him up. Hey, they mean well. They do. They want this. They mean.
I'm dubious.
They mean well. Oh, I think the last day for the Tampa Bay T-shirts is today. We're going to make today the last day for Tampa Bay T-shirts.
Cease and desist sale.
Cease and desist.
So I mean, this is it. Like we have.
Yeah. This is.
But Tom didn't come up with it.
But his law firm is really mean. They're very powerful.
They're polite. They worded it politely.
Well, they're going to be mean. They could be mean.
It was a strongly written
Yes,
letter.
it was. I took it that way, and I just said we're going to take down the Tampa Bay T-shirts this is last day.
And then Tom yesterday on Twitter used the phrase Tampa Bay for the first time himself.
I know. He's allowed to do that. He's allowed to do that, apparently. But this is the last day. Hopefully you've enjoyed the run on the pre-cease and desist sale that we have on with the Tampa Bay T-shirts. We have the Gronkaneers. We have the Rob Gronkowski T-shirts up there. We have his name is Tom T-shirt up there as well. A lot of great T-shirts up there. And Fritzy, no more. No, I just can't.
I had a separate question.
I know.
You don't like CD Ram?
But the Rams didn't get CD.
But if they would have gotten him, we had a T-shirt, CD Ram.
You sent me 7 different T-shirts. You got
I was
Jerry
getting all excited
Judy.
with
I know you gave me Jerry Judy with the Broncos. Do you want to give those?
Howdy Judy.
Howdy Judy time.
That's good for the 18 to 24-year-olds that are very familiar with the Howdy Judy.
Anybody under 50 understand Howdy Judy?
I want
Under
to know
70.
I want to know if our Tom Brady shirts that we're selling for the last day have to be worn inside your pants. And why would that be? Why would you have to wear them inside your pants? It's my little joke as we go to break.
Okay. I don't know, Todd.
Because of the tuck rule. They have to tuck it inside their pants. The shirts can't be worn out.
I like that he thinks it's funny.
Oh, there's a lot
I
of
like
things.
that we're adding a Todd's Riddles segment to go along with the scoreboard segment. That's awesome.
The tuck rule. You have to wear it inside your pants. Anyway.
Thank you, Todd.
Jesse Palmer's coming up.
All righty. We'll take a break.
Todd's Riddles.
Oh, God.
By the way, real quick.
No.
No, it's important. You guys put something together. I don't know if it didn't hurt my feelings, but did you know there's something on Twitter, the various faces of Fritzy? Like someone edited together a bunch of weird facial expressions I make during the course of the show on Zoom, and they put that out like on the Dan Patrick Twitter there.
I will take credit and blame. Because
Figured you were behind
every
that.
morning before the show, Todd will be staring at his computer, and he doesn't blink. And I said to the big German, just roll on Todd today, right now. And he goes, he's not doing anything. I said, oh, yes, he is. And there are about, 12 to 15 different faces up there. And I just said, just put it up there, have Mario put some music, and just call it the many faces of Todd Fritz. Because I've said for a long time, you're two-faced, and this proves that you're about 12 or 15 faces.
Sure.
So big difference there.
Well done. Very
Yes,
creative.
thank you, Todd. Take a break. Jesse Palmer is next. Does he know Chris Sims was maybe approached to be the Bachelor before Jesse Palmer? We'll find out next. Oh, there's so much more going on.
All right, gentlemen, let's start off and get into the NFL draft coverage. I'm sending you 2 pictures from the last night. There's a lot to chop up, but I'm going to start with your pick. Do you want to start with Cliff Kingsbury's draft setup or Mike Vrabel's draft setup? Dan, I'll let you pick.
Oh, there's so much going on in Vrabel's. That's so much.
You don't have the energy, or you're ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
What do you see? How would you describe Vrabel's setup if someone couldn't see that picture?
I believe his daughter's there on the side. He's got some guy in a skin tight. I don't even know what that is.
Like a Teletubby?
Maybe. Yeah, that's a good call. Somebody then in a uniform or jersey. Maybe that's a son. And then back in the left-hand corner, I got somebody who is sitting on the throne.
Oh, like a king or something?
No. No.
Oh, the throne.
Yeah. So you can see just over Teletubby's shoulder, I got somebody sitting on the toilet.
Oh, he's a second-round pick, if you know what I mean?
Oh.
Deuce McAllister.
Oh.
Okay, is that a setup that guy is? I'm assuming he's sitting on the throne. Does anybody else see this?
I think it's like some kind of Where's Waldo thing that he was trying to come up with, like little clever hidden things to see what we can pick up.
I don't know. I mean, if they did, well done. If they're playing me, well done.
Well, right. You could ask, is that a setup? And if it was a setup, did Vrabel know? Or was he set up by his kids?
Yeah. Did somebody photobomb Dad on draft night here?
He's all locked in on his draft board.
Yeah.
Because the dude with the bleach blonde mullet, he definitely looks like he's up to something. Where he's kind of like, yeah, this is going to be funny. Let's see if it works.
Yeah. Wow, that's so good.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so
If they were punking Dad, that's not Stool.
All right, I want you to, here is your draft profile. These are actual things written about you. All right? Now, the bottom line is the positive, okay? But I want you to read it.
Oh, I'm great at reading.
It's that Cincinnati Bearcat education here.
All right. Weakness. Only one season of production in college. Doesn't have blazing speed. Talk about 80 yards to the house. Merry Christmas, whoever wrote that.
Keep going.
Not a tremendously explosive athlete. Doesn't come out of his breaks that well.
Okay.
Not a tremendous, but still an athlete. Kels plays with the pedal to the metal, which isn't always a good thing. Must be that steel courage. He doesn't run a wide variety of routes, doesn't display sudden or sharp breaks in routes. Character is a big question. He doesn't really produce until 2012, so may label him a potential one-year wonder.
Wow.
Ooh. The old one-hit wonders.
How much is anything true in there?
I want to say no, but I mean it's somebody's opinion, so I mean I can't say it's completely false, right? I mean someone sees something on film, you know, it's rather a raised question about it than a not raised question about it, but
favorite white.
He isn't a tremendous athlete. Hurts my feelings because I feel like I'm pretty high up there on the athlete list. At least in the tight end group. That's what I'm putting this into.
Favorite white guy cliche, white receiver cliche. Do you have one?
I mean, obviously you got the white men can't jump.
Sneaky fast.
Sneaky fast. The try hard white guy, you know, the guy that just found his way in the league from trying harder than the guy across from him.
High motor guy. Yeah. Deceptively athletic.
Deceptively athletic.
How do you hide your athleticism? Like you're trying to hide the athleticism. Like don't tell anybody, but I'm going 80 yards here. Shh. I'm deceptively athletic.
That's pretty good. I don't know who came up with that one.
With Trey Wingo is hosting on the Mothership and Reese Davis on ABC. I loved listening to the college guys because Reese, Jesse Palmer, Kirk Herbstreit, David Pollack, they know all these players. This is what they do every single Saturday. And Jesse Palmer joins us. How did it feel last night, Jess?
For a lot of different people, associated with the NFL and with ESPN and with ABC and all of us. But,
I really thought everyone did a great job pulling it off. Reese and I, Maria Taylor, Tom Rinaldi, we were all in studio, here in Bristol, Connecticut. And, we obviously had a bunch of analysts in different places and around. But, just a great job communicating. At the end of the day, the NFL draft for us, we look forward to this every year. We have so much fun doing this. It's still one of the biggest sporting events, of the year, certainly in this country. And while we know it was going to look a lot different last night, I think we felt like we were still able to tell a lot of stories and show a lot of the emotions. There were tremendous interviews with the players, with coaches, and with their families via satellite, via remote. But I think a lot of that still came through. So, we had a lot of fun last night. I know we're really excited to do it again tonight.
What was your oh wow moment last night?
I think for me, it was probably either Isaiah Simmons falling to the Arizona Cardinals. I fully expected him to be gone by the fourth pick. What I thought going to the New York Giants, and the fact that Cliff Kingsbury landed him, I think at number 8, to me was tremendous. And then I think Jordan Love going to the Green Bay Packers late in the first round, I think was surprising. A lot of people thought they might go wide receiver and get Aaron Rodgers some help. And I know that, the Jordan Love story was all of his talent, and obviously with the 17 interceptions, that was sort of a Jekyll and Hyde scenario, and who was going to take the chance on him. And at the end of the day, with Aaron Rodgers going into his 16th year, the Packers decided to make the contingency pick. I thought that was really interesting.
But this, you played the position, you were a backup and understand that role. If you're brought in, are you threatening to the starting quarterback? Normally, we didn't do that. You'd bring in a backup, and he wasn't going to threaten the starter. Peyton Manning with his backup for all those years with the Colts. Like, you never had somebody. Patriots bring in Garoppolo. I don't know if they thought he was going to threaten Tom as quickly as he did, but now you bring in Jordan Love, extremely talented. And what do you think the time frame is on Jordan Love developing, and how important is it for him to develop into the heir apparent for Aaron Rodgers?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is an alpha quarterback, as we all know, and I don't think he feels threatened at all. Personally, I think Aaron Rodgers could play another 4 years minimum if he wanted to. Having said that, this is a great situation for Jordan Love. And honestly, Dan, I think it's a situation that he needs. He needs to be on the bench, and he needs to watch one of the great decision makers in the game today play football, and he needs to see that. Jordan Love threw 17 picks last year. When I watched the tape on him, it wasn't an issue of accuracy. It was an issue of decision-making. And oftentimes, for strong-arm quarterbacks, they believe they can make each and every single throw, and it gets them in trouble. And I do think at times last year for Jordan Love at Utah State, he was pressing. He didn't have a lot of help. He didn't have great protection up front. He didn't have wide receivers separating and getting wide open. So I think Jordan Love really felt like he had to make superhuman-type plays in order for them to be competitive and win games. But I think now in a situation like Green Bay, they can help, and Aaron Rodgers can show him and help coach him out of those bad decisions to understand you don't have to make every play. We've got Devontae Adams. We've got a good young tight end in Jay Sternberger. We've got Aaron Jones at running back. There are parts and pieces around you. Aaron Rodgers arguably has the strongest arm in the National Football League. He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, though, because he's very smart and he makes good decisions. Jordan Love is going to have to sit and wait and watch. But I don't think you could ask for a better situation if you were Jordan Love. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, you're not threatened because you're not losing your job anytime soon.
Talking to Jesse Palmer, ESPN college football analyst, back on ABC's coverage tonight and Saturday beginning at noon Eastern. You're so good at this, looking at these quarterbacks and assessing, how good they are and what they need to work on. I'm curious how tough it is, though, Jess, to take them from college to the pros and as they make that transition. Because I can look at a guy in college and say, he's really good. Case in point, Patrick Mahomes. I thought he was fascinating. I had no idea he would be anywhere near what he is now. Whereas Deshaun Watson, I said, that guy's a star. How do you try to troubleshoot this and say, this guy will work or this guy won't?
I think evaluating the quarterback position to me is probably the hardest evaluation of any single individual position, I think, in all of sports. And I just think, Dan, there are so many different variables and factors that go into it, both physical
and mental and emotional. You know, if you said of the quarterbacks that got picked last night, who am I least concerned about? I would say probably Joe Burrow out of LSU. I've said this and I'll keep saying it. 13 years at ESPN, he's the most accurate quarterback that I've seen in college football. And I think accuracy is something that you can improve with fundamentals, but ultimately I think it's inherent. And Joe Burrow completing 76% of his throws in an offense where they throw the ball deep down the field and just constantly hitting receivers in the numbers and in the face mask. Like, I know that accuracy is going to translate to the next level regardless of what system he plays in. And then there's a guy like Justin Herbert out of Oregon that's playing sort of in this up-tempo spread offense. There's sort of a lot of dinking and dunking, a lot of screen throws and pump faking guys early to open up more throws downfield. The systematic change for him with the Los Angeles Chargers, that's going to be a whole lot different. And I think certainly scouts looking at him at the Senior Bowl and how well he performed there, it gives them hope that he can make that transition. But it's just simply something we just don't know. So, you know, it really is in a lot of ways still a guessing game. And there's a lot of big names still out there that we're going to see picked coming up here, Dan, whether it's Jacob Eason out of Washington, who played in a pro-style system, or Jalen Hurts that played in a more pro-style system in Alabama, and then more of an air raid system with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma. How is that going to translate to the next level as well? It'll be interesting to see.
All right, if you need a quarterback in the second round, who are you taking?
I'm going with Jacob Eason. You know, for me, I love the fact playing at Washington under center with a tight end and a fullback on the field. You know, this guy had to play, you know, versus condensed defenses and looks. Took a lot of 7-step drops and play action, and he can push the football downfield. 6'6", 230 pounds. He was the number one quarterback coming out of high school for a reason. He has a lot of talent. He started at Georgia as a true freshman, of course, got hurt, lost his job to Jake Fromm, and had to sit out 2 years between, you know, sitting out at Georgia with the injury and then transferring to Washington and having to redshirt. You know, and I think that probably hurt his development a little bit, but I think he has a lot of the natural tools you need to succeed at the next level. And then I'll say this. I think the biggest story tonight is, where does Jalen Hurts go?
Yeah.
He reminds me a lot of potentially Taysom Hill with the New Orleans Saints. Jalen Hurts, you know, he's an alpha, won 38 games in college at 2 different programs. And I think after the Lamar Jackson phenomenon now, everyone's trying to find that next that X factor at quarterback that can take your offense to the next level. He's not as dynamic a runner as Lamar Jackson, certainly, but he ran for over 3,800 yards and 43 touchdowns in college. And he's a guy who's a quarterback, but I could see Jalen Hurts playing a little running back, a little receiver, a little special teams at the next level. Doesn't have to play quarterback necessarily right away. And with New England and Pittsburgh and Indianapolis, maybe Jacksonville, there's some teams that need quarterbacks early. So Jacob Eason, Jalen Hurts, I think those will be two of the bigger storylines, I think, at the start of tonight.
Yeah, I hope Hurts gets a chance. I like that kid. The way he handled the Alabama situation, he goes to Oklahoma, proves that, you know, he can go into that same system that Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray did and add another dimension to it. I would love to see him in a place like Carolina where he could wait a couple of years for Teddy Bridgewater and then maybe you ease him in to the lineup there. But I think there's some fascinating second-round possibilities here. Also, is it tougher to handicap an offensive tackle or a wide receiver in the first round?
That's a great question. You know, I think for a very, very long time, it was tougher to handicap wide receivers, I think, based on the system that you play in. And especially in the college game today with, you know, these quote-unquote air raid offenses where there's empty sets. And, you know, a lot of these receivers, they don't have these extensive route trees that you see on Sundays in the National Football League. It's either catch a screen, catch a bubble screen, make a guy miss, go score, or just run a go route and high point the football and score. You know, but today it's hard to look at offensive tackles as well because, you know, for the same reason, we don't see a lot of I formation offense anymore in college football, and you don't see a lot of the same run schemes or pass protection schemes in college as you do in the National Football League. The good news for offensive tackles today in these types of offenses in college is that more often than not, you're on an island. You're not getting a lot of help from tight ends and running backs. So you can see who's a good pass protector and who's a good athlete. But because of the lack of run schemes, I mean, you see a lot of zone runs and zone reads and these run pass options. But, again, you don't necessarily see tackles with a tight end lined up beside them, and now they have to down block or they have to pull necessarily or get into the second level. I think it's much tougher today to really get a good idea at offensive tackle with respect to the scheme that they're playing. We know who the good athletes are and who can bench press a lot and who can run 40-yard dash times very, very fast through the combine and all the testing. But, I think the way the game has changed, particularly at the college level, sometimes makes it tougher to grade out these offensive linemen and help predict how successful they're going to be on Sunday.
Last hour, we broke the story that Chris Sims, the former NFL quarterback, he was first approached in the same offseason as you to be on The Bachelor. He believes he was approached first, and he said no, he couldn't because John Gruden, he said, would kill him if he did. Does that bother you as a quarterback or as just a handsome guy that Chris Sims might have been approached before you to be on The Bachelor?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it makes me feel like sloppy seconds for ABC first and foremost.
You seem shaken. You seem shaken by this revelation.
Yeah, no, I mean, I might, I'm gonna make a few phone calls.
Okay, all right.
I might have to sit out the second round tonight and just try to get over that before I can recover for the third round. I mean, not only am I jealous that Chris Sims was a lefty and could throw tremendous velocity, but now on top of that, I just come to realize I was playing second fiddle to ABC all along in that process. 14 years after it's happened, at least I guess I get some clarity and some finality now to this whole thing.
But see, this is ABC. They bring us The Bachelor, right? And you're working for ABC tonight. I mean, you got to have mixed emotions about this, Jesse.
Yeah, and and it's just, I'm trying to wear different hats here.
Yeah.
All for the same network, but at some point you can only juggle so much.
Prayers, thoughts and prayers for you tonight. We're here for you if you need us, and good luck.
I appreciate it. Stay safe.
Thank you. That's Jesse Palmer, ESPN college football analyst. It's live. This is live radio and TV, and that's just an honest answer from an honest man. He's hurt. And I would be too. If you said they're taking Chris Sims before you, I'd be hurt. We'll take a break. We will come back, phone calls, and we will hear from our show insider, Tom in Ohio, will call us and tell us what happened to that possible Odell Beckham Chase Young deal and why it went south. That's next.
Team has learned that you may have gone on stage somewhere this week.
Yes,
That's
I
all
did.
we know.
Hooting the Blowfish. I went on tour. I ran away from home.
There you go.
And I went on tour.
Rock and roll. Did you sing? Backup singer?
No. I sang. That wasn't supposed to be part of it. But this sound guy, comes over to me on the side of the stage. He goes, "You going up for only?" And he hands me a microphone. And I didn't even know what he was talking about. I go, "Sure." And then I realized only want to be with you.
Yeah, right. It
So
took me a
once the
minute.
song started, I have a microphone. I just went up and started playing the bongos. I wasn't invited by the band.
Did they know you were there once you got up?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they turned around. Like Darius will be like, he'll hear my voice singing,
Yeah.
and then he'll go.
That's funny. He's like, wait, something sounds off.
Dan, country music star, lead singer of Hootie and the Blowfish, Darius Rucker on the line.
Hey, D.
Hello, Dan. How are you feeling?
My hands are really sore from playing the bongos. I don't play them.
Yes, they are. Because you don't play the bongos. You fight the bongos, okay? Let's be honest.
Okay, when did you realize I was singing on stage?
Oh, I'm there, and Gary's in my vocal. Gary's in my ear, but I think when you come up, they turn it down. And so I hear Sony go, "Darius, look back," and I look back, and there you are, just slapping the ball. You're not hitting them. You're slapping them like you hate them. And I'm like, oh, my God, he's going to break the bongos again, and then you're going to get banned from the stage once again.
Did I help or hurt the show?
Oh, you always make the show better.
Okay. All right.
Always make the show better. Because it's not for the audience. We are laughing so hard at you that we are better. You make it better for us, for sure.
And I know that Darius has these earpieces like IFBs, so he's able to block out all the noise. And I love to just throw in a little subtle message to Darius when I'm singing. So I got this microphone, and then I'll go, Darius, and just to mess with him because he still has to sing the thing. And if you guys, you guys have sold out every place you've gone, but if you get an opportunity to see the Blowfish, I mean, it's fun. It's great. Now, I've never been on stage at Madison Square Garden where you guys are going to be Saturday and Sunday. I've never played the Garden is what I'm trying to say.
I got a feeling that's about to change, huh?
If you guys, should I ask for permission or beg for forgiveness?
Dude, have you ever asked for permission? I've never heard you say to anybody, hey, can I jam tonight? I've never heard you say that.
But you guys have played the Garden before, right?
Yeah, man. We played a few times.
It's pretty good.
But still, man.
Right?
It's the Garden.
It's pretty cool.
It's the Garden.
I know.
This whole tour's been pretty cool, man. It's been crazy.
I know. Oh, by the way, just wanted to know how your Dolphins are going to be. If I said you can start Josh Rosen or Ryan Fitzpatrick, who do you want to see?
All right. Paulie, get your pen out.
Okay. Oh, no. Here we go.
Fitzpatrick, MVP. Dolphins, Super Bowl champions. You heard it here first. Write it down. Everybody write it down. Fitzpatrick, MVP. 42 touchdowns this year. 42.
Are you still drunk?
Yeah.
Hey, it was a lot of fun, and I'll see you this weekend in New York.
I'll see you in New York, man. Take care.
Okay, all right. That's Darius Rucker, lead singer, Hootie and the Blowfish. Yeah, because he blocks out all the noise, and then he can hear when everybody's singing. And the guy he was talking about, Gary Green, he does like the percussion, he does bongos, he does a lot of different things, tambourine. And Gary had his microphone, and so I'm singing into that. And by the way, Only Want to Be With You, that's not in my vocal range. Not many songs are. That's not one of my strong suits there. All right. It's that time. It's COOKIE time for PENNY. Okay, come on out. You see what I got. Let's go, Pen. Okay, now here we go. Come on. Now I'm going to show it to you. There it is, right? That's what we're going for. And then I go like this, and then I'm going to go all the way out there like that. Is it that one? No. Is it that one? Yes! Give me a high five. Give me a high five. Yes! You're looking gorgeous today. And that's it. She's gone. That's the last I'll see of her. Hi. We need to make a Penny t-shirt. And by the way, chat row, design a t-shirt. Design your own t-shirt. Let me know. We'll have a chat row t-shirt. I promise you. Said I would do this. Stop whining. Oh, I found out who was going up to get Jordan Love. I'll have that for you coming up here in a moment. Also, Michael Salfino. McLevin, are you aware of Michael Salfino?
Yeah, he works for The Athletic. He's an analytics fantasy football guy.
Great. He sent a tweet. The difference between Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love is Rodgers was viewed as the number one overall pick for much of the draft process. He was passed over for Alex Smith for reasons that then, as now, remain largely a mystery. The thing snowballed. Love was not a value pick. Yeah, that was my point. It's not one of those where you go, I got to take this guy. I have to. Of the top 15 in touchdown passes last season, 5 of them will be at least 35 years of age when next season starts. Brady, Breeze, Rivers, Rodgers, and Ryan. All right, we'll go around the room. I just found out who was trading up to get Jordan Love. Todd, I'll start with you. Start in the back row.
I'm going to say the Saints.
The Saints, okay. McLovin.
The Indianapolis Colts.
The Indianapolis Colts. Seton O'Connor Jr. III.
The Jaguars.
Jaguars. Paulie Esther.
I'm also going Jaguars. I think the Saints is a great guess.
The Indianapolis Colts is the answer.
Wow.
Colts were going up, from what I'm told, to get Jordan Love. We got our Discover Card moment of the week, and here it is.
I got a friend of a friend who knows Jimmy Haslam well.
Yeah.
And Daniel Snyder and Jimmy Haslam, I know they're not general managers, but they've been talking very seriously about the love affair that Daniel Snyder has with Odell Beckham Jr., and Jimmy Haslam has that same type love for Chase Young, and they're within one draft pick of making that move.
All right. Tom in Ohio is saying the Browns and the Redskins are close to pulling off a trade. And this is sources close to a source that's close to your source. Is that what you're saying, Tom?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. That's the Discover Card moment of the week. Get your free credit scorecard today, even if you're not a Discover customer. It includes your FICO credit score. Checking your scorecard won't hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. Let's bring in Tom in Ohio, our show insider. What went wrong, Tom? Why did this deal go south?
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning, Tom.
5'11", 175 yesterday, 5'11", 185 today after 10 pounds of crow.
What happened, Tom?
Best I can tell you at this point, the general manager of the Redskins and Riverboat Ron evidently pulled Daniel off the cliff and decided and talked to him and made him convinced that giving up on the best generational player that they've ever seen was probably not a real good idea.
How close was this deal to actually happening?
Only thing I can give you right now is for you to look at the tape after the Bengals chose, which was, by the way, a great move for Cincinnati. Obviously, they were always going to do that, but congratulations to them.
Tom, we just need the inside information here.
Okay. Look at the tape and look at Riverboat Ron. He looks like he got scared by a ghost. And observe Chase Young, and I believe it was either his manager or a friend or his relative on a phone. Chase has two phones in his hand. He's talking on both of them back and forth, and he has a look on his face of what on earth is going on. So that's just a little bit there. So you can take that for what it's worth. Dave.
All right. Well, thank you, Tom.
Really, I don't know what went wrong. I mean, I don't. Jim Brown's not my source.
Keep your head up, and I'll talk to you next year at the draft. We appreciate that. That's Tom in Ohio, who had the opportunity to be a Danette for a day. We were going to make a T-shirt, Tom in Ohio, if he was able to somehow pull off this deal. But he said that maybe can we McLevin, you got to rewatch the tape on the Redskins taking Chase Young. Was there a moment where Ron Rivera is being told something, or
He
Chase
kind of
Young?
sold me. He sold me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know if any of this is true, but I find Tom in Ohio fascinating. Keep up the good work there, Tom. Or work, whatever it was. Final hour coming up. We'll talk to Mark Sanchez, former NFL quarterback, get his thoughts off last night. More of your phone calls as well. And I got wings, 3 different types of wings on the Traeger grill. All of that coming up. Final hour here. Dan Patrick Show.
All right, guys, let's get into Cliff Kingsbury, the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. You know, he's a good-looking guy.
Baller.
You know, always goes a couple buttons down on the shirt, wears glasses daytime, nighttime.
No socks.
No socks, ever. He doesn't own socks. His setup looks like a pool bar in Vegas. Would that be fair? Bottle service only?
This is
It's
out of
just-
billions.
Yeah.
This is out of billions right there. I mean, it's getting hotter in the desert, man.
Not only that, but it's like 90 degrees there, and he's got the fire going in the backyard.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Because why not?
And he's got a long sleeve shirt on.
Yeah.
Would you rather vacation at Cliff Kingsbury's house or anywhere else? Let's say you could stay anywhere.
That's as nice as a Ritz-Carlton or Four Seasons or anything else you're going to find.
It does.
Depending on coach.
I was more fascinated with Belichick's.
That's a lovely table.
It was a beautiful table. And isn't he on Cape Cod?
At Narragansett, I'm hearing.
Yeah. Oh, Narragansett.
That's what I'm hearing.
And is that Cape Cod?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nantucket.
Nantucket.
My bad. Nantucket.
So that's not the vineyard. That's Nantucket.
Yes.
Or is that the vineyard? There's the Cape. Seton.
There's Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And then there's Nantucket.
Nantucket.
There's Block Island.
But
which is
not
very
Narragansett.
nice.
Yeah, I was curious. Like, I loved Belichick all by himself there.
Yeah. Corner of a table.
Yeah, I just thought it was. I was curious what else the spread looked like there.
He was like a 7th grade history teacher grading papers.
At night.
Yeah.
Bad lighting. No one else around.
Probably just mumbling under his breath. Those stupid kids.
Do you think there's anyone who liked this year's setup for the draft more than Belichick? No one's around. He's all by himself. He doesn't have to talk to anyone. Doesn't have to talk to the media. I think he enjoyed this immensely.
I'm still waiting to hear people complain about the Cowboys had an unfair advantage in this draft because Jerry got to be there with his son, apparently. So that Cliff's all alone, Bill's all alone, Vrabel's staging something. Fascinating.
Good times.
Fascinating.
I probably have the worst question if you want me to go first.
Oh, okay. I'm going to give you guys 2 questions.
No, let's go. What's it?
Okay.
Okay, go McLovin.
In the movie Draft Day, you played Sonny Weaver.
In the Draft Day, yeah.
Yes. You drafted a running back at number 6 overall. Do you really think you can win with a running back in today's NFL? You went full Saquon with the Browns.
God, you mean you really watch way too close and look, you know. Look, my big contribution there was you pancake eating mother, and I threw that line in because it was a throwback to hearing the guy I'm eating pancakes, and I thought I have to echo that towards the end. I listen. You know, we got as much logic as we could. Just not enough for you.
Yeah, you're a stickler.
But I love making that. I love making that movie. I did.
I would love to see you recreate your character for like a Funny or Die with Odell Beckham and Baker Mayfield, and make it seem like you're the GM of the Browns, still.
Right?
And then you do something with them, almost like a hype video for the Browns season, where you have Odell Beckham and you have Baker Mayfield. I think that would be great.
Listen,
you got enough things to do.
I had a blast, you know, just out there and playing and throwing the ball around, and it was a great movie. It was a nice extension of being able to do sports
and
movies.
A great co-star too.
What are you doing? Are you ready? Are you ready? You're so ready. Go get it. Oh, that was crappy. Okay. All right, my bad. Ready, set, okay. Come here. Oh, you're so good and so bad at the same time. Yeah, come here. Bring it over here. What are you doing? You ready? Go. I remember when you didn't know how to fetch. I remember. Well, go get it. Well, that's it?
The Bengals will select and keep Joe Burrow. Justin Herbert by the Chargers. Tua Tagovailoa will be drafted by the Dolphins.
Not bad, Dan Patrick. No time in Ohio, of course, but solid and improving. This just in from the Tom in Ohio newsroom.
I have got a friend of a friend who knows Jimmy Haslam well. Daniel Snyder and Jimmy Haslam, they've been talking very seriously. Odell Beckham Jr. for Chase Young, and they're within one draft pick of making that move.
Stay tuned for more Tom in Ohio bombshells.
First reported by Tom in Ohio.
Broadcasting from the Mercedes Tom in Ohio newsroom. And man cave, too, but that's a throw-in. Here's Dan Patrick.
Final hour on this Friday. It's a Traeger Meat Friday. Yes, we got chicken wings 3 ways. I couldn't decide, so Alan, the IT guy, goes, hey, why don't we just do 3 different types? So sorry that the other Danettes won't be able to enjoy them. It just means more for Paulie and myself and the boys in the back room. But our thoughts will be with you. All right, let's recap what we've learned. We've learned a lot today. We talked to Chris Sims. He covers the draft. Chris Sims was saying that he was not a big Tua Tagovailoa fan. Didn't think he was a top 10 talent even without the injuries. We talked about Jordan Love going to the Packers, what that means. I found out the team that was going to move up and take Jordan Love, just found out this about 15 minutes ago. The Colts were going to move up and take Jordan Love with that pick. That pick in the second round, they were moving up to the first round, and they were going to take Jordan Love. We also found out that Chris Sims was the first choice for The Bachelor over Jesse Palmer, who eventually became The Bachelor. Now, we haven't confirmed it, but Chris Sims is my source on it. He was playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he turned it down because he said John Gruden would probably kill him if he took that. And I broke the news to Jesse Palmer last hour. You know, it was honest. It was raw radio, and you got to hear a grown man who I think, you know, he got sacked right there. I think he got humbled a little bit that Chris Sims was the first choice for The Bachelor. Yes, Seton.
It's like his entire world was turned upside down.
Yes, it was.
When you gave him that news.
Yeah. My job is not to pick and choose who I give it to and when I give it to them. I just give it to them. I'm a journalist. And as a journalist, I had to tell him Chris Sims was the first selection as a NFL quarterback to be The Bachelor. Mark Sanchez, a former quarterback, he will join us coming up. I think we got a theme show here with Chris Sims, Jesse Palmer, and Mark Sanchez. You got rounds 2 and 3 coming up tonight. You start to look at how the quarterbacks played out with Tua going where he went. They went where I thought they would go. I thought maybe Jordan Love would last to the second round and maybe a team like Carolina would take him, but that wouldn't have been the case because the Colts would have taken him. You know, everybody wants to hand out grades, and it's difficult to do that because if I hand out grades right now, you're talking about 2 or 3 years from now where that comes back and haunts you. You really have to wait 2 or 3 years before you get a true assessment of what a team did. But there's no fun in that. Do I like Joe Burrow going where he went? Yes. Chase Young where he went? Yes. The Lions interviewed Tua, and they admitted they interviewed Tua. Now, I thought if you're Detroit, you got to look at this, and why wouldn't you look at this and say, could we take Tua, have him sit for a year, then could we maybe trade Matthew Stafford? You know, you start to look at the numbers, and it doesn't work, and then I was told by a source, Detroit has to win this year, or there are going to be people who are fired. The Giants, I thought you would take Isaiah Simmons. And, get a tackle. I get it. Did you get the best tackle? I don't know that. Isaiah Simmons went to Arizona. I was really surprised he slipped to 8. I was surprised that Ruggs went to the Raiders at 12, but if Al Davis were still alive, Al Davis would have taken Henry Ruggs. He loved that straight-ahead speed. Jerry Jeudy to the Broncos is a smart choice. I love C.D. Lamb lasting to 17 with the Cowboys. Dolphins getting Austin Jackson. He's a big guy out of USC. It feels like he's going to, the Dolphins are probably a year away. If you look at Tua, maybe a year away. If Austin Jackson's able to develop into a legitimate NFL tackle, you're a year away. You got some cap room there. Tampa Bay takes Tristan Wirfs, who could have been a top 10 pick, and they get him 13. You got a tackle here for Tom Brady. I love the Kenneth Murray pick, that inside linebacker from Oklahoma for the Chargers. And Chargers defense is great. Really great. I told you that I got from a source with the Odell Beckham stuff that there was no truth to it. What did I tell you when I first heard that? They were going to take a wide receiver in the draft. And what did they do last night? They took Justin Jefferson out of LSU. There was no story there. Do I think that Odell Beckham will eventually be traded in the next 2 years? Yes, I do. But Minnesota, from what I was told, they were taking a wide receiver. They took a wide receiver. And the quote I got was, why did we get rid of a headache to bring in a headache? Patrick Queen with the Ravens. I love him out of LSU. Who else? Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Chiefs, you add to their offense. That's fun. I mean, if you're Patrick Mahomes and you're watching your draft and you're going, oh, yes. I got a guy who is a great pass catcher. And remember when we had Joe Burrow on? And I asked him about who is the best player on the team? Like, who's the most valuable player? He didn't even hesitate. He said, Clyde is a freak. And I'm going to take it from Joe Burrow that his running back goes to the Kansas City Chiefs. But it was fun. The Saints get Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. And I know it's a center and nobody cares. Those guys start. And then you look back and you go, oh, that's right, you got him in the draft. It feels like guards and centers are easier to handicap here. It's really hard to look at a tackle. I think you can whiff on tackles now more than you can wide receivers, and it used to be the other way around. I think it's because if you look at the defense or press coverage that you have in the NFL, it's different for these wide receivers to get separation. The quality of the defense is obviously better. The tackles, to me, that's a great mystery because you can have somebody and say, I'm going to take him, like Eric Fisher. Didn't Eric Fisher go number 1 overall out of Central Michigan? So there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees whatsoever. Andrew Thomas out of Georgia, I was always under the impression maybe he was the 3rd or 4th best tackle in the draft. He goes to the Giants. I was surprised. I thought they were going to go Isaiah Simmons because it feels like Isaiah Simmons is a guy that you say, hey, why don't you just dominate? Go out there and, be a junior Seau. Freelance like LT did. Go get him. Have some fun out there. But we got more football coming up tonight. I know it's not action, but it still kind of satisfied the craving there. Yeah, McLovin.
What do you think of your Chargers getting, you said Kenneth Murray, they're kind of loaded on defense.
I know. We look at them as an offense. Now, you get Herbert. I don't think Herbert plays this year. Maybe he gets some time. But Tyrod Taylor with that team, they should be a really good team. But you got to be a really good team because you're in the AFC West. You can't go, are we the best team in the AFC? You're not the best team in the AFC West. And just the high bar that you have there, and you're going to have to wait a year to see if Justin Herbert is maybe your franchise quarterback. But that defense, I look at them as much as being a defensive team as I do an offensive team. And this is a team that 2 years ago, I thought they were a Super Bowl team. I thought they were the most talented team that I saw. You go from 12-4 to 5-11. And then Phillip Rivers is in Indianapolis there. Yeah, McLovin.
What do you think of a Saints-Bucks rivalry this year? They seem like they're on a collision course.
Should be. If the Buccaneers are good enough to get up to that level with the Saints. I was also looking at a tweet by our buddy Adam Lefko. The Saints and Packers have Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Now, this is the final Super Bowl window for both of those guys. Drew Brees is 41. He already signed the deal with NBC. That's for next season. The Saints drafted an offensive lineman for Drew Brees. The Packers drafted Aaron Rodgers, heir apparent. Thank you, Polly. Thank you. It's courtesy.
So what, is he saying one of them is drastically right and one of them is drastically wrong, or is he just pointing it out?
We're just pointing out the Saints are building, they're in for this year. The Packers were a win away from the Super Bowl, and they're already looking at their future. Now, they're going to be in the now and deal with the current situation coming up tonight and over the weekend. But this wasn't a value pick, by the way. And when I first saw it, I go, where was Jordan Love on all the big boards here? And he was projected to be end of the first round. Maybe a talent that was greater than that, but this isn't a value pick where you go, oh my God, we can't pass him up. That's the amazing part of it for me. Now, you couldn't have stayed at 30 and gotten him because from what I'm told, the Colts were going up and they were going to get him. I don't know how high up they were going to get him, but they were going up to get him. And that makes a lot of sense for the Colts. And the Colts are going to draft a quarterback tonight, from what I'm told. But you were going to go up. You couldn't because they beat you to it. But don't look at this and say, boy, the Packers, man, they got a value pick here. No, you traded up to get this guy. And you can't sit there and go, maybe he'll work out as our franchise quarterback. Maybe he'll take over for Aaron Rodgers. You're drafting him and using a first-round pick. Now, granted, it's not like you're using a top 10 pick and the money that you'll spend. But, you went all in on him. I saw this last night, courtesy of the NFL Network. Our good buddy Rich Eisen was hosting the charity, the telethon there for the NFL Network with those affected by COVID-19. Kevin Hart was on there. Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Michael Strahan, Deion Sanders, and then Tom Brady himself. And, of course, and it's not a feud. It's just maybe a misunderstanding or a disagreement on who owns the rights to Tampa Bay T-shirts. We created it. He trademarked it. You'd think that we could be partners, but we decided this is the last day. You can order the Tampa Bay T-shirts. Well, Kevin Hart picked up on this, and this is Kevin Hart calling out Tom Brady for taking the name Tampa Bay from the well-listened-to popular Dan Patrick Show.
Hey, Tom, yeah, and what a humble move to call Tampa Tampa. What a jerk. What a humble thing to do, Tom. As soon as he lands there, Tom, what do you think about Tampa Bay? Talking about Tampa?
Yeah. And now we know. Yeah, Paulie.
This is our stupid idea. We were stupid way before Tom was. Way before.
Yeah. We've kind of cornered the market on stupidity.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's trademarked our stupidity.
Yes.
Dang, right out from under us.
I know. Well, we weren't smart enough. We were stupid enough. We just weren't smart enough.
Nobody produces dumb content faster than us.
I know.
Accurate.
I know. Sean in Nebraska joins us. Hey, Sean, what's on your mind today?
Hey, Dan. So as a Buffalo Bills fan, I have to begrudgingly say that the Patriots are putting on a master class in tanking, and the Green Bay Packers could definitely take some notes. I think going into this season, you had very similar outlooks, aging quarterbacks, really good team that's maybe not good enough to win the Super Bowl, don't have a lot of cap space, probably not going to make them good enough to win the Super Bowl. So rather than wait, they just rip the Band-Aid off. Bill Belichick trades back into the second round. You can still get first-round talent at that fifth pick. They don't have to pay the guy. And I think somewhere along the way they're probably going to shed a veteran here, maybe even for another draft pick. I don't think they'll take a quarterback in this draft. They'll wait on that because they don't see that talent coming up. And whereas the Packers, I think they are handing Aaron Rodgers his hat and telling him to, slowly walk out the door. But they really should just, give it to him straight.
Yeah, I think we might be overreacting just a little bit there, Sean, but thanks for the phone call. Rodgers is still playing at an elite level, had a great year last year. They're 13-3. They're a win away from the Super Bowl. They're not that far off, and you still have your quarterback. The Patriots don't have a quarterback. They have Jarrett Stidham. There's no way Bill Belichick is tanking. Just not. Jacksonville, meanwhile, come on down. Jacksonville feels like it's going to do a great job in tanking. for Trevor Lawrence. Yes, Paulie.
The Patriots have a second-round draft pick, and then they have 4 thirds and 2 fourth-round draft picks to trade up. You know they're going to take a quarterback, and we're all going to go nuts like, oh, what did they see in him? What did we miss with Jacob Eason or whoever they take?
I get the feeling that they're going to bring in a quarterback. When the draft is over, that's what I want to see with what happens with Andy Dalton. Do the Bengals cut him? What happens to Cam Newton, and what happens to Jameis Winston? If you're a team, see, I thought Pittsburgh was going to be interested in Jordan Love. And I forgot all about the Colts last night. Because when you look at Ben, his backup, he doesn't have good backups here. But if you can go Jordan Love, and I can give you maybe 2 years with Ben, that to me would have made a lot of sense. But the Packers might be 3 years away from using him. But I don't think you can look at this and go, the Patriots used a second-round pick on Garoppolo. If they had used a first-round pick on Garoppolo, then you'd have a situation, I think, similar to what's going on here with the Green Bay Packers. We got a winner on the scoreboard, Todd's scoreboard, that he spends way too much time on every single morning. The numbers are 10 and 74. Jake in Colorado is the winner. I wonder if this has anything to do with the Broncos since it's Jake in Cleveland. So 10 and 74 the numbers. The
clue, you're good.
Just leaving.
Yep.
Just starting.
The first number is just leaving. The second number has to do with just starting, both this date in history, both NFL related.
Let me see. Just leaving somebody.
16 years ago today, NFL draft.
All right.
Supposed to be playing somewhere and said, nah, I'm going to go somewhere else. Just leaving. Jersey number 10.
Eli Manning.
There you go. That's the 10. Eli Manning, 16 years ago today, drafted it by the Chargers and went to the Giants.
All right.
And the second number is a team we've been talking a lot about, something special that happened on this date in history in 1974. They were just starting.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the NFL granted a franchise to the Bucs this date in history in 74. Eli Manning, 10. Buccaneers, 1974.
Thank you, Todd.
Welcome.
Thank you, Todd. These are tough, man.
It's fun. We're making it interesting. I gotta try to step up the game a little bit. You
I
gotta earn the right to win.
Dan in North Carolina joins us. Hi, Dan. What do you have for me today?
Hey, how you doing? 5'10", 150. Hope you guys are thank you very much. Hope you guys are having a good Meat Friday. I'm about to enjoy some dove and venison tenderloin myself. Getting to the meat of my phone call. That's you right there, Todd. I've been listening to you for years. Thank you, Todd. I've been listening to you for years, and it seems like every year you say you have to wait 2 to 3 years before you can actually analyze the draft picks.
Yes.
I'd like to know who you think, just in the first round, best and worst pick from the 2017 NFL draft. And hello to chat row and suck at front left.
All right. Whoa.
I think that's me.
I think it is.
That's fine.
Thank you, Dan. Can you look at the 2017 draft there, Paulie?
Yeah. Hold on one second.
Okay. Hold on a second. McLevin, update the poll results. Mark Sanchez, the former quarterback, will join us coming up here.
Will Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay? 64% say no.
Evan in Indiana joins us. Hey, Evan.
Hey, Dan. I want to say 6'2", 243 and falling. Thank you guys for helping me get through my morning run. Makes it a lot more fun. Quick question. Do you really think Jake Fromm or Jalen Hurts goes at either 2 or 12 tonight to Indy to replace Phillip Rivers? And I'll hang up and listen.
Once again, you don't just take a quarterback to take a quarterback. Take a quarterback you think fits your system. That's the key. And Jordan Love, if they looked at him and they like what they saw, then great. But, you could use a wide receiver there. And if he's not the right guy, then you don't go, we didn't get him. Let's take Jalen Hurts. You can't do it that way. Yeah, McLevin.
Is it a stretch to say if they liked Love, maybe they want a big, strong-arm guy like Eason?
Could be.
Similar qualities?
Yeah. I hear good things about Eason, but once again, it's the measurables. I don't know his personality. But I hear, good things. Yeah, Paulie.
Going back to the 2017 draft, I'll go quickly. Browns took Myles Garrett. He's a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
Bears took Mitch Trubisky.
Not good.
Niners took Solomon Thomas, and he's not great. He's not bad.
And I thought he was going to be great.
Jaguars took Fournette in the 4 spot, and he's getting better, but...
Nah, he's done.
Corey Davis of the Titans.
That's not good.
Jamal Adams of the Jets. Safety.
Very good.
Mike Williams of the Chargers, injured his first year, but playing well now. Wide
Yeah.
receiver.
Good.
Christian McCaffrey of the Panthers.
Very good.
Bengals drafted John Ross, little, speedy wide receiver out of Washington.
Not good.
And then Chiefs took Mahomes. New Orleans took Lattimore, the defensive back, and Texans took Deshaun Watson.
But you look at all of those guys, they're all, I mean, there's some great players. Garrett could be, a 10-time Pro Bowl player. Jamal Adams, all-pro player. Mike Williams is very good. McCaffrey with what he's done. Patrick Mahomes, could be a Hall of Famer. Marshawn Lattimore is very good. Deshaun Watson is great. Who else?
If you go to the end of the first round, T.J. Watt, Pro Bowler at the 30th pick, and then Tre'Davious White, the defensive back of LSU with the Bills, he's really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can give grades. I'm just talking about giving an accurate grade because we all want to go, hey, what do you think? Give them an A. Miami got an A. I saw, some drafts where, hey, they got a tackle and they got a quarterback. First of all, I don't know if the tackle's good. Austin Jackson out of USC. And what if Tua is not healthy? So, hey, I gave you an A. I don't know. That's why I always say, give me at least 2 years where I can see, where we're going on this. I know we want it now, and, maybe it's a cheap way for me to get out of giving a grade here. I don't do this for a living from the standpoint of assessing the talent there. I do talk to people who do this, but, if you're saying, hey, what do you think of, throw out a name, Isaiah Simmons. I think he's going to be a dominating player. But understand this, it's not like you're crappy in college and then you get drafted in the first round. Everybody's good. You can make a tape where everybody looks great. But that's not what the NFL is all about. Hey, I got a great tape in college. Mitchell Trubisky probably had a great tape. Vince Young had a great tape. He had one of the best performances ever. He won the Rose Bowl. I mean, we assumed he was going to be very good. That's why when you give out grades, it's always I'd give out an incomplete because I don't know. I just don't know. And that might be mean-spirited to give Mitchell Trubisky an incomplete.
Actually, that's pretty nice. We'll take that.
Yeah, all right. We'll take a break. Mark Sanchez will join us, get his thoughts on what unfurled last night in the draft, and how would he feel if he was Aaron Rodgers today? 22 after the hour, this is the Dan Patrick Show. You're checking things all the time, checking your email, checking yourself out in the mirror. Todd likes to do that when he always checks his guns.
I do.
Yes, you do. Thank you, Todd.
It's been a while, though, unfortunately.
How about checking something important as your credit? By the way, you've lost weight. You look good. You have lost some weight.
I lost a couple.
Yeah, you have.
I got a ways to go.
I know. A waist to go?
I do have a
ways to go. My bad.
Been doing a lot of walking around the neighborhood like a zombie.
Discover's now offering FICO credit scores. Check your score. No, I really care. I care about it.
Wow.
Discover. This is a 15-second read, Todd.
That was like a throwaway line.
Discover
Say how I'm
credit
doing.
scorecard. Free for everyone. Discover.com. Discover a salad. Limitations apply.
Come on. Jeez.
We just had Chuck D from Prophets of
The
Rage,
best.
and the coolest.
He is the best.
The coolest.
If I knew he was here, I wouldn't sit down. Chuck is so damn smart, so damn friendly, so damn funny. just a tremendous guy. Every time I'm in his presence, I'm both awestruck and I'm amazed at how real and how nice a guy he is.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize how like starstruck I was when I saw him until I saw the pictures.
But he put you at ease right away, right?
I didn't know what to do with my arms anymore. I was like, oh my God, like this is Chuck D, you know?
Yeah, but
what a great guy.
He puts you right at ease, right?
Oh yeah.
And he's like,
he just came over, talked. You know what he did too? He talked to everybody.
Yes.
You know, that's a big thing for us. Like you can tell who somebody is by how they treat everybody.
He has no reason not to. Because he's made no mistakes. You know, all of the things he has said are right. All of the messages he's delivered, all of the things, all of his values are right. And I can't say enough about that guy. Love him.
Well, it was a similar thing though that the messages that they had in like Fear of a Black Planet and all of those.
Exactly.
It's all the same. It's
Pardon
just as
my language.
relevant 30 years later as
And Chuck would be happy if that wasn't true.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he wasn't saying that going, hey, 30 years from now, let's tackle this problem. He was saying, right this minute, we need to deal with this. Racism in this country is disgusting.
Yeah. Wow. So you guys, you're doing, let's face it, does that album feel 20 years old to you?
It still has teeth. And it still has messages, sadly has messages in it that seem important.
It's just as relevant today as it was 20 years ago.
Sadly. I wish it wasn't. I wish we weren't saying that. I wish we could say all of the ideas and all of the thoughts and all of the problems and all of the very, very important subject matter we tackled on that album have disappeared, but they haven't.
Yeah.
And that hurts me, and it saddens me.
Well, it's aged so well in that it doesn't feel like it's aged at all.
Thank you.
I mean, you hear Rascal Cake, it's like the same that you heard it again for the first time.
Too, because I think it's a genre of music, and I think here's the advantage that we kind of have is that it's supposed to be this type of music, and that can't. It can vary and it can change, and there can be differences in certain places, but it's still ska punk music, and that. So if you're a ska punk fan, if you're 16 years old, then you have to see the Boss Tones, and that's sort of a luxury that we have built into the whole thing. I apologize for my poor. You'd think I'd learn a microphone by now.
So what are the future plans for you guys? What's the rest of the year
Thank
look
you
like?
for asking me. This is important. The rest of the year, we do our annual Christmas shows. And, Hometown Throwdown, yes, absolutely right. And then early next year, there's going to be a new Boss Tones record for anybody who gives a
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people, my man. Thank you so much.
Dan Patrick Show brought to you by Mercedes-AMG. Be prepared for whatever comes your way in the all-new GT four-door coupe, because life is a race. Visit your local dealership for a test drive today. If you missed any of our celebrity interviews this week from the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, go to the Dan Patrick Show app. Watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Mercedes-AMG driving performance. Former NFL, USC quarterback. He's Mark Sanchez. Showtime Sports teamed up with former NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez, a new digital series of in-depth, engaging conversations he had with Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. It's called Intangibles, presented by Fourth and Forever, released this week on Showtime Sports' YouTube channel. Mark also served as a Super Bowl correspondent on Inside the NFL on Showtime this past season. And Mark joins us now. And whoa, look at that mustache. Whoa, is that a quarantine mustache here?
Quarantine mustache. My mom thinks I look like Pancho Villa.
You do. If you had one of those sombreros on, or a 70s quarterback, you look like.
Right?
Yeah.
I could I don't know. It wasn't as bad as I thought. And once my kid got into it, I know they were talking about playing the guitar, but I need my co-star with me. I got a 3-year-old son.
Yeah, we heard that you've been practicing guitar, so I thought that maybe we roll this out.
We got to do it. We'll do it in the next couple of weeks. We'll work on the song, but he loves that Old Town Road song. And I'm literally carrying him into like media day at Super Bowl, and he sees Lil Nas X.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, no offense to him, I didn't know what he looked like because I hadn't seen the music video. I just knew the song. And my son's the one, this 3-year-old boy goes, Dada, Old Town Road. Staring at him and pointing at him. And I'm like, well, don't point because that's rude, but who are you pointing at?
All right, what do you take? Let me start with Jordan Love going to the Packers because this wasn't a value pick. They went up to get him. How would you feel if you're Aaron Rodgers?
The same way Favre probably felt. It's difficult, but at the same time, I said this leading up to the draft, that a perfect place for either Herbert or Jordan Love was a place like New Orleans or Green Bay where you have an established starter. So there shouldn't be any question as in that organization or outside that organization. I know the media will make it bigger than it needs to be, but Aaron Rodgers is the clear-cut starter for as long as he wants to be. And until his play declines, which I don't see happening anytime soon, I mean, he's still got another 5+ years if he really wants to. You know, he's one of those Tom Brady kind of guys who could do it for as long as he wants.
But then why do it, Mark?
Well, I think you're grooming your next guy because you want to get – they love Aaron so much, in my opinion. They want to get some of the best of Aaron out of or injected into Jordan Love, and he needs to be around him because Jordan Love, to be completely frank, I don't think, in my opinion, that he's ready to go into an NFL locker room and go on that field and start day one, especially with an offseason like this. That just makes it even worse for somebody like that because you can damage his confidence and ruin him for the rest of his career. So, especially a franchise like that, a storied franchise where the quarterbacks are pretty solid, you got to give him a chance to learn from someone like that. And Aaron benefited from that. And it was actually Aaron's Instagram last night. Favre was like joking about it before, you saw that?
Yeah. Well, he wasn't joking 15 years ago.
Yeah, I was like, dang. And then it really happened. I was like, oh God, it's going to be weird on the outside, but I think Aaron will have learned from that situation that he was in and hopefully, take him under his wing or at least have the professional courtesy to help him out from time to time. I'm not saying he has to just completely give up his job because that's Aaron's job, but this is the best situation for Jordan Love, I really think. And somewhere like New Orleans would have been great too, where you have a guy, like I said, who's an established starter. You don't have to worry about anything.
It's called Intangibles, presented by Fourth and Forever. You sat down with Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, and Jordan Love. You're talking about intangibles, and I bring this up when it comes to trying to assess who's going to be able to make that next leap into the NFL. They all have talent. Everybody's got a great highlight reel. It's Tom Brady. He doesn't have, the physical gifts as much as he has the intangibles. Drew Brees the same way. You can say Peyton Manning. Like, what is it that you're looking for, Mark, with these intangibles, with these young quarterbacks?
Well, I think some of it is just mental toughness. What have they been through? What experience have they had, and have they bounced back from, good or bad? Also, that's part of their self-confidence. Just watching their tape and speaking the language with them. Can I try and walk them down a road to correcting themselves? Are they their own toughest critic? Things like that keep guys going for a long time in this league and keep you around for many years. But I think there's a little bit of that in all three of these guys. But like you said, they're all big enough. They're all strong enough. They're all fast enough. Yeah, sure, some guys are a little bigger, a little stronger, a little faster than the others, but they've all got something. Now it just depends on where you land. And to be totally honest, positioned perfectly is somebody like Jordan Love because he's going to reap the benefits, just like Patrick Mahomes. People are comparing his tape to Patrick Mahomes for a reason. There's freaky arm talent. He throws some amazing balls, but he also leaves you scratching your head sometimes like, well, what are you doing? What was that? Why there or why now? And every quarterback's done that. But when you string a couple of those together in one season, like he had last year, granted, he lost 9 starters, coaching change, offensive scheme change, that's fine. But that was a lot of interceptions for college at Utah State. So what did Patrick Mahomes do his last year at Texas Tech? He threw a lot of picks too, a lot. And so They get him behind Alex Smith for a year, one of the best at taking care of the football, one of the best at understanding how his feet and progressions and everything is a part of timing. They all tie in together, how to get through your progressions with Andy Reid, who's now been validated as a great coordinator, even though we've known that forever. Then what happens? Now you cut him loose after a year of just figuring things out, just examining, taking in information like a sponge, just soak it all in. And that's what you can potentially have. And if Jordan Love has any sense to him, which I think he does after sitting down with him, he's just going to be, without being, an annoying little brother, he's got to be Aaron Rodgers' little brother and just watch him. How does he watch tape? Why are you looking at that? Ask questions without, pissing the guy off. Figure out what he's doing right, what he's doing wrong, and just he can't buy enough notebooks and pencils right now.
That's great.
That would be my first investment if I just learn from the guy, because he's one of the best of all time.
But if I look at this, Jordan Love's not going to play this year. I hope Tua doesn't play this year. We know Joe Burrow is going to play. But then that brings me to Justin Herbert, and I don't think he's ready to play right now either. You got Tyrod Taylor, but I wonder how quickly, in the old days, if you're drafted this high as you're going in and now you play. Right. And as Brady told me years ago, if I had played right away, I'd be out of the league. I needed to understand how to slow the game down, all of those things. If you're the Chargers, what do you do with Justin Herbert?
Here's the problem, and I don't think Chargers fans are going to love this. They got a new stadium. It's a big media market. They're competing with the Rams constantly. The Rams just went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago, so they need to sell jerseys, sell tickets. There's this other factor, this other force, right? This driving force of, a monetary force, right? And so they're going to push. There's going to be pressure to play this kid if Tyrod Taylor goes 3 and out a couple times in a row. I guarantee it. Just because he was drafted so high, just because when you see him in training camp, I guarantee there's going to be highlights all over the news channels talking about, wow, did you see that ball? And look at how great his feet are. And he's so big. And you look at him, you fall in love with the kid. It's unbelievable, his physical attributes. He's 6'6" and ran a sub 4.7. It's freaky now. So there's going to be pressure to play him. My only advice to Anthony Lynn, who is our running backs coach in New York with the Jets, just give him some time, man. Let him marinate. Let him sit in the oven. Take him out when he's ready, and not a minute too soon, or else you might spoil it.
How many times and you're playing against Brady twice a year in the AFC East. Did you ever look over or watch him on the field and go, how in the hell is he doing this?
So during the time, he was still building some of that. He obviously had that aura around him, and there's like as a competitor, you're like, you want to beat his ass. You're not like, I'm not in this to, just wow at somebody. I want to go kick this guy's ass. But knowing what he's done and seeing him come back in games, like I'm telling you, I don't know if I had any nails left after that, after the divisional game in Foxborough, because they're starting to mount a comeback. Like we hit them hard early, got him down early, and it's 28-14. But we're talking with 3 minutes left, that thing can flip quick. They could score 17 points fast. So you just have so much respect for the guy that in some ways you're terrified, and in other ways you just want to go beat him. So it's
but there's nothing. But Mark, you're not watching Mahomes play quarterback. You're not watching Aaron Rodgers play quarterback. You're not watching Lamar. Like I'm looking at a guy who looks like a normal guy playing quarterback. Physically looks normal, but he's abnormal. Why?
It's between his ears, man. He's figured it out. He's supremely confident, and he a lot like the military, these guys get in these very difficult situations, but they know exactly what to do. They have a process, they have a checklist, and he can do it so quickly. And he has this mental Rolodex of, coverages and blitzes and pressures that he's seen before, and he can immediately pull it up without having to go through, like certain people, you got to, okay, was that 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago? Which AFC championship game was that? No, he'll know. I guarantee you right away. Yeah. Hey, 2014 versus the Broncos in the playoffs on the road, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee he knows that. And that's what's made him so good. He also, you can tell when you've been in the same system for a long time, Dan, when you have 5 options, you're not necessarily going through all 5 options. It's almost the guys who can process the quickest are the ones who know, okay, I'm definitely not going to him. I'm not going to him either. Now I'm down to 3. And if there's any pressure, I have a contingency plan. I know exactly where to go. If everything goes to crap, I know exactly where to go. And that's been his thing. And then even when there's nowhere to go, he falls down. And that is one of the hardest things to do. I'm telling you,
you're right.
He'll give somebody a gift. He'll give somebody a gift in the 8th row and just sail one almost out of the stadium. But he doesn't care because he knows there's a bigger goal in mind. I don't need that one play to beat you, but that one play could lose the game for us.
Well, that's what Nick Saban brought up because I said, what concerns you? And he said, because Tua never gives up on a play. And I said, like if Tom and Peyton didn't have anything there, they would just fall in the fetal position. Russell Wilson is in between. He'll extend a play, but he'll get out of he's smart. If I was one of these athletic quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, I'd just say study Russell Wilson because he picks his spots, when to run, when to slide, when to get out of bounds. Brady is just, hey, nothing there, I'm going down. That's it.
Exactly. And I guarantee you a lot of that for Russell Wilson, where he's learned that, and even his demeanor on the field, like constantly positive, that's so Pete Carroll. And after being around Pete for so long, he reminds you every single meeting when you start the year in training camp, he holds a football and he says, it's all about this. He says, when you hold this, you hold the hopes and dreams and aspirations of the entire franchise. Everything from the guy cooking the food in the cafeteria to the guy washing your dirty jock. This is the most important thing in our entire universe. Is that clear? It's all about the ball. That's it. So he knows, hey, man, I can't take hits and lose the football. I can't give the ball to the other team. And that's one of the hardest things to do is to give up, to say uncle on the field when you're so competitive. I mean, it's easier to try and make, and I told Jordan Love this, I said, don't make me chicken salad out of chicken crap. I can't do that. If it's over, sail it. And it's hard.
That's great advice. It's called Intangibles, presented by Fourth and Forever, and it's released this week on Showtime Sports YouTube channel. Mark Sanchez, Pancho Villa, the former NFL USC quarterback. Do you joke at all with Pete Carroll about when you were coming out, he didn't want you to come out, and he said he would have, like he was going to throw himself in front of the door, that he wouldn't let you out of USC to go pro? Can you joke about that now?
We actually talked about it a little bit, but the day of, when it happened, when it actually happened, so the night before, I don't know if I said it on this show or somewhere, but the night before, he was in my apartment at school, and we had In-N-Out Burger at till 2 a.m, and we were just talking about life, talking about football, talking about our families and everything, and he's like, literally, like when he leaves, he just kind of like, hey, listen, I'm not going to agree with you tomorrow, but I want you to do well. Like, I support you. I don't agree with what you're doing. I would say that to my kid, if he was you or whatever. And so I understood. Well, it just came across so poorly. And then there's like the picture in the LA Times where he's like walking off, and I'm kind of like, are we shaking hands or what? And then, so it just the optics of it looks so bad.
Yeah, they do.
And then I remember we left school, everything had ended. I kind of felt like a weird vibe in the room in the press conference, and then it just blew up. And, this is 2009, so Twitter's starting to take off. And I mean, it just it exploded. And I remember him calling me, and he goes, golly, what the heck is going on? I just said I disagree with you. I didn't say I don't like you or I don't support you. Like, I said, Coach, don't even worry about it.
I'm looking at the picture. It looks like you don't know each other. And if you do, you hate each other.
It looks like 2020 passing some quarantine. Like, get away from me.
Oh,
it's weird.
Great appearance. Great to have you on, Mark. Thank you very much. And good luck with Showtime Sports.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. That's Mark Sanchez. That's good stuff. Yeah, I remember when Pete Carroll didn't think Mark should go, and he was like, I'm going to throw myself in front of the door. I'm not letting you out, or I wouldn't let you out. I'm going, oh, my goodness. And the Jets traded up to get him. All right, we'll take a break. Back after this in the Dan Patrick Show.
So, Dan, all the kids are using the Face app, and so we decided to try one out. Now here is young Todd Fritz in his prime and Corbin. Now I didn't have rights to use Corbin's picture going forward.
His name.
Now here is current Todd Fritz. That's kind of what he looks like now. Actually, that's about 7 years ago. Yeah, he looks good. Looks fresh. Got a shave.
I'm still bothered by Corbin's cleavage. I really am. But I'm sorry, Paulie.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't like the little
There's a lot to unpack
the
here still.
The strap thing on the shoulder.
Early Todd, kind of current Todd.
That's a nice shot.
And we ran it through the system, and it turns out there's Todd in 20 years.
It's shocking. I can't believe that.
Which
exactly like Burt Young.
Looks just like Burt Young, the actor from Rocky. I mean, so much so that I think that is a picture of Burt Young.
And as much as I love the Rocky movies, I just didn't want it to come to that. That's what I have to look forward to.
That's Todd in 3 years. Now,
3 years.
Here's the other thing. The bonus connection here is, what's the actor we have on today, the great actor?
Joe Manganiello.
Manganiello. Big, good-looking guy. He's in a new sports movie, and guess who his co-star is in the movie?
Todd Fritz.
Life just
Burt Young. Oh, Burt Young.
There it is.
Got the same brown eyes and the hair situation, the weight, all of it.
I gotta tell you, I like this picture of you up there. Todd.
That's the best one I could find. I thought
that's like a modelly, like.
It is.
I think I was like 10 pounds lighter there too. But
double that.
Hey.
Wow.
Hey, ladies.
The movie is Bottom of the Ninth, which hits theaters tomorrow. Available as a video on demand. Burt Young is in this movie.
Burt Young is in the studio right now.
Oh.
Oh, no. Do you think...
Here we go.
Okay, do you think Fritzy looks like Vince Young? Or Burt Young. So the former actor from Rocky, Uncle Paulie. Now, be honest, Joe. Does he look like Paulie?
I feel like we should do a scene from the movie right now. Or like, hey, this ain't no pie eating contest. We can do some stuff from Rocky too.
Paulie, give Joe your Rocky impersonation.
I say you can't win. You're gonna eat lightning and crap thunder kick.
No, that's
my Mick.
Burgess Meredith there.
I was wondering if you wasn't doing anything in the next 30 years, you wouldn't mind marrying me very much.
And that's Stallone. Why don't you do Burt Young? That's who you look like.
Oh, the only thing I remember for Burt Young is when they got off the plane in Rocky IV, he goes, I don't like these guys. Maybe they don't like you none too much neither. What do I ever do to them?
So Joe just got done with a movie, just wrapped with
How about that?
you, Todd.
My doppelganger,
Yeah.
Burt Young.
I didn't know.
What's the story?
These are all mine.
Mine are.
And then we have some that...
There's 4
coming
on
up.
outside.
Regular buffalo, honey sriracha, dry rub. I think.
Wow, big day ahead.
Yeah. I feel guilty having these in the Danettes or at home, probably having a tuna salad or something.
I feel less so. I don't feel bad about it. I'm actually over it.
Well, the camera's rolling.
Oh.
So I feel bad.
You're good. You're a better actor than I am.
Yeah. That one was good. I'm going to try this is a honey sriracha. All right, I got it.
That's what I'm looking for.
This is all made on the Traeger grills. Alan did a great job coming up with the sauces.
Yeah, he threw some sriracha in there.
Tyler did a decent job of watching the... Like, it's not a hard job to watch the Traeger. Tyler always goes, oh, yeah, I did a great job on the Traeger, didn't I? I go, yeah, you turned it on.
Hey, stood there looking
turned
at
it
it
on
for 2 hours.
Tyler mails it in.
These have some kick. I like them.
Is that the sriracha? Okay, sriracha, whatever.
I think we got to go back soon.
This show gets in the way.
Big time. Wow.
I don't really have an opinion on them yet, so I'm probably going to have to come back out and have a couple more.
Man, that sriracha's good.
going to send this out to the chat row. Thank you for being part of the program every day through thick and thin. Tyler, the moderator there, but thank you for keeping us honest on the program. We appreciate it. Here's Arcade Fire. If you're in Chicago and you've heard the radio show on ESPN 1000, Sylvie and Waddle, it's one of the great radio shows in America. Mark Silverman, who is works with Tom Waddle, the former NFL wide receiver, he's sick, under the weather, and we hope Sylvie is feeling better. ESPN Radio 1000. But Paulie went to school with him, and Sylvie's been doing it for about 20 years, I believe, there on ESPN Radio 1000. So our best to him through this time. All righty, final results of the poll question. McLovin, what do you have for me?
Will Aaron Rodgers end his career in Green Bay? Still 62% say no.
Okay. I don't think he does, but there's a feeling that I would have that if you said after 2 years he decided that he was done playing football and wanted to do something else, I would understand that. I don't know if he is like Tom Brady and Drew Brees, and like there's almost like they want to prove that they can play till they're 42 or 43 or 44 or 45. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers has that mindset to say, I want to continue to do this for another 5 years, 6 years. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy. Robin in California. Hi, Robin. What do you have for me today?
How you doing, Dan?
Great, Robin.
Hey, I got a T-shirt suggestion for you, and I'm kind of surprised none of your Danettes never came up with this one. How does this sound? Trademark this, ... Buck you.
Buck you. Wow. Well, thank you, Robin. I don't need to poke the bear. I like Tom Brady. I respect Tom Brady. I just came up with a dopey idea. It's Tom's idea now with Tampa Bay. And you got an hour left, and that's it. Then we're done with selling the Tampa Bay T-shirts. You can go to the website, and you can pick them up. But no, I'm not here to poke the bear.
It's a little aggressive.
It is. I don't. Buck you is. No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. No. We wish Tom well with Tampa Bay. We do. We wish him nothing but happiness. Because you know what? He could use some good news in his life. Yeah, guy's been through a whole lot. He got yelled at for going into the park. He went into the wrong home. I'm happy. He got an offensive tackle. I'm happy now that he's things are turning around in his life. Yes, Eden.
What if in like 10 years from now, Tampa Bay is just the biggest thing in the world, and it's like he has his own amusement park down there, and he's made $1 billion off of it, and like, damn it,
it's okay.
That was our idea.
It's okay. I'm going to roll the dice that he's not going to have Tampa Bay resorts.
Oh,
or,
no.
You don't know.
Like Dolly World,
Dollywood?
Yeah, Dollywood.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But hey, if we lose out, it's not the first time I've lost out on, that great investment there. This day in sports history, Paul.
1994, David Robinson of the Spurs scored 71 points against the Clippers.
That was to win the scoring title, wasn't it? Didn't he beat Shaq?
That's right.
I think so. Let me go around the room. What we learned on the program. Back left, Todd Fritz. What'd you learn?
I think we all learned this. The year Jesse Palmer became the Bachelor, Chris Sims was also asked to do it before him.
Wow. Once again, we're trying to get a second source aside from Chris Sims. McLevin.
Heck of a run for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it was. It was good while it lasted. And, once again, we wish Tom the best of luck with that. Seton O'Connor.
You absolutely ruined Jesse Palmer's weekend.
I think I did. I think I crushed his spirits there.
Yep.
Paulie, what'd you learn today?
The Colts liked love. They didn't love love.
I think they loved love. They just didn't love love the way the Packers love love. What did I learn, Todd?
Chris Sims doesn't like the pack taking Jordan Love. Aaron Rodgers only 35. They should have picked a defensive tackle.
What we learned brought to you by LegalZoom. They make it easy to set up the right estate plan without leaving your home. Take care of your family today. The right estate plan at LegalZoom.com. We'll recap the draft and the next episode of the Bulls documentary on Monday with Reggie Miller. Thanks for joining us. Safe weekend.